Well, we've already got the audio, 1, 2, 3, and you can already hear me, and you can see me. Let's just confirm before beginning. Perfect. Shabbat Shalom, my dear friends, my most esteemed judges, the entire LVE lineage and tribe, as well as every other friend out there listening. On this so precious, semi-cloudy, cold day of Shabbat from California, the US of A. Today is the Shabbat, the 23rd of Kislev. Kislev, Kislev of the year 5991, belonging to the 17th of December of the year 2022. We're 1 week away from celebrating Christmas and also of finishing up with the month of Kislev. We shall study a continuation of what the series with a longer title, but it just summed it up to Revelation 17. Revelation 17, Part 9. I decided to add 2 more chapters for now in this series. A series that's marvelous, absolutely incredible, because it was in the series in which we did the judgment in this series, Revelation 17. And the last chapter that we've done was part 8, that bear the title of Where is the Elohim of Justice? And from there, I would say from then on out, we started to, in every Shabbat, to bring different members. For example, today we've got Eddie, different members demanding justice and asking, where is the Elohim of justice? And that is our question daily. Where is the Elohim of justice? We've had 7 months pass from that incredible chapter, and many things and many messages, and also in many new true understandings. So then, today we shall amplify the last information that we had of what we believe that could be the dates, because I've already presented this in other subject. Let me correct this. I've already presented this in other studies, but I'd like to leave it in this subject in case we've got people following this series. And so then we've had 7 months from the last chapter, and our true understanding has changed in many aspects, especially in the prophetic part of these so important dates, 1260, 1290, and 1335. But today we shall study in this chapter 9 of Revelation 17, part 9, Bethuwlah, part 1. And I decided to make it in 2 parts because I don't want it to be too long today. And even less, I don't want it to be long next Shabbat. Because next Shabbat, we shall be in the 24th of December, in the prelude of the celebration of Christmas. And of course, for us, we do it at 11 a.m. But many that listen to us, if not to say most of you, are way ahead in time, and so they're about to start Christmas celebration, and I don't want to entertain you too much, because that's why it's going to be, I don't think we'll go past 2 hours max, absolutely max. A subject that's relatively short, or even less. That is why I've divided the subject in 2 parts, an incredible subject that is really to be understood in many different subjects, because it'll be difficult for many of you maybe to understand this. Like any new thing that comes, sometimes the mind resists in not wanting to let go of the old information and take up new information. It could happen in these chapters, but today we shall talk about an aspect of Revelation 12 where Bethuwlah is. Who's Bethuwlah? The virgin. Bethuwlah in Hebrew means virgin. For us is the Virgo constellation. That's the name of the constellation, Virgo, where that virgin is. But in Hebrew, it's called the Bethuwlah Virgin constellation. So it's a prophecy that's absolutely marvelous, incredible. that we've never understood, nor anyone has understood, and our explanation of and the interpretation will be absolutely unique. Unique. But for this, you'll have to wait for next Shabbat. But we have to talk about other things which are related with Bethuwlah, of course. So then, without any further ado, let us seek our Elohim. Beloved Yeshua, we give you thanks for this so precious day of Shabbat. We give you thanks because we live this incredible time. We give you thanks because you bless us, you encourage us, and you are preparing us for your soon return to live on this earth with us. I ask you that we may comprehend today's things. They are things difficult to understand. They are things difficult to accept due to our own nature, due to our surroundings, what we've lived through. But let us help us to comprehend what it is that you want, what you're looking for, and how your wife should be. All this we thank you for in your precious name, Yeshua, Yahweh Sabaoth. Alleluia. The Lord has blessed with one more year of life the following members of the Eternal Truth. And today I'm wearing the shirt that I had from last year, but of course they're so nice that they don't need any new one. And this black one is spectacular. You've got Santa Claus here. You've got Santa Claus with a sleigh giving away presents. Spectacular. Very well. The following have had birthdays this week. Matias Israel Gonzalez, Paraguay. Milka Urbaez, the Dominican Republic. Gloria Janet Garcia Enciso, Colombia. Ashley Crisbert Martinez Hernandez, the Dominican Republic. Nilda Linares, Venezuela. Miguel Ángel Vergara Calderón, Colombia. Ariane Lee del Carmen Ortega Muria, Venezuela. Emmanuel Montero, Spain. Graciela Solís, Bolivia. Julimar Barrios, Colombia. And Soraya Rodriguez, Venezuela. For every one of you, a great big hug from the Eternal Truth. From every one of us, many blessings. And we hope that it's the last one during these instances of this earth with this Babylonian government. May it be the last one that you have, and the following one you have, may it be already under another system or government. That'd be spectacular. And also a great big greeting to everyone that has had birthdays that are friends of ours, but we don't have the information so that we mention them. Once you mention them to me or to Gabriel Heyer, we already add them on a list, and there's no need for you to remind me anymore unless we have a confirmation that they've left the Eternal Truth and they no longer want to belong to this lineage. We delete them, otherwise they stay on the list, and when the time come of the week that they have a birthday, we mention them. So then a great big hug to you. And if somebody's listening to me and I have not mentioned them, and basically we mention people that follow us. I tell you this because sometimes they want to give me the information of, hey, say hi to my cousin, my mother, and they don't even listen to me. Say hi to my grandma, it's her birthday. Did they listen to LV? No, they don't listen to, but nah. We say hi to people of the lineage. So then if you're part of this so unique of a lineage, so I want to use a weird word, magical as the Eternal Truth, then you have a right to be a part of that list of the celebration of birthdays. Very well. On the last chapter of Revelation 17, part 8, 7 months ago, we talked about possible dates that I'm going to mention here that, of course, we've discarded because we advance according to the light that Yahweh wants to give us, that we may discover of the scriptures. There's nothing written for us, not even in doctrines, nor in prophetic events. We are always watching. Yahweh, Yeshua said that we have to be alert on a permanent basis, watching, looking at the events. So then, of course, when you observe the events and you see the events, it could be that you make a certain mistakes, but it's a part of the whole essence of what it is to be someone who is waiting for the husband. I forgot to present the presents. Before speaking about this, let's present the presents. We have a new member. In the Christmas celebration, it's this Santa Claus. It was a keyboard player, and we got it this morning from the Martinez lineage. It's the special part of today. Christmas, Christmas. Today is Christmas. It's a day of joy and happiness. Spectacular. We have other presents. Let us present this precious one. This is of Eliseo Lopez Perez, and he gave us some spectacular cups because they have the picture of our lineage. This, you have Leslie, it's I'm here, Angelina and Brian. It's a Sukkot LV 2022. Spectacular. These collective cups, of course, precious. 2 cups, which they have given us, and this is for the kids, Angelina and Brian, and for us, they give us 2 shirts, or 2 t-shirts, however you want to call them, with our picture, which says City of Love, and behind you've got the flat earth. So then an XX large for me and a medium for Leslie. Spectacular with precious fabric. Many, many thanks to you for these Christmas presents at Spectacular Eliseo. Really very original. You did great. Precious. Everything arrived well, absolutely well. I've got 2 more to present. Today I had to present other ones, but I went to the mail, and I think they're Adventist because they close on Saturdays. We've got this present from Marisol Carrillo Exmon. For me, I believe this is my gift. I had opened it. I don't know where it's at today. Let's try to open it real quick. It is a barbecue set. It's always great for me. It's always great, a barbecue set for me. Thank you, Marisol. Marisol and her husband, Josia's parents, in case you don't know him, who's still in the honeymoon, he says. He says, don't bother me, because he's in the honeymoon. So then, since his parents were very happy they gave us this. Oh, what a beautiful set. What a beautiful set. I don't want it to fall. I don't want it. Let's see. What a beautiful set. Entirely. An entire set of barbecue with some sets that are spectacular that we can sharpen. This is for corn on the cob, or, however you want to mention them. A great big spectacular spatula, a whole bunch of things here. Got some forks here, rather spectacular, rather precious, to tell the truth. Thank you. What was the husband's name of Marisol? I forgot his name. If I mention him. This is, can't remember who it was for, but I'll show it. It's for the kids. It's a cell phone station to recharge them. Also some other things like a dock base, and you place it here and you place your phone here. Many thanks, Luis. It's Luis. Luis and Marisol, exactly, Luis. Luis and Marisol, it's spectacular. What else do we have here? I'll fix that later. We've got... What a delicious perfume this has. This is kind of like a cup. which is not for mate, but to drink any drink. It would seem to be as for mate, but no. It's just to drink its drink with its straw, or however you want to call it. And it also has a soap. Oh, this was such a good odor. A candle. A candle is a candle which has perfume. Very, very, very delicious and delicately. I think this was for Leslie, and of course, I am opening it now and not in Christmas because otherwise it'll be way too much to open in Christmas. What else do we have here? Here we've got a type of a backpack, or wallet. I think it's for Angelina Precious, rather precious, rather very beautiful and pretty. It's a backpack because you can put it over your shoulder like a backpack precious. And I believe that is all on behalf of them, if I am not wrong. And on behalf of the lineage, Soledad and lineage Errada, they have given us some chocolates, some candies that I've been eating a whole bunch of already that I cannot even stop, that are like this. I've been eating many of these candies that are rather exquisite, these candies. This says that they are, well, let's open it and see. Let's open it and see what it is. It's like a little cape, I believe. A little cape like this for Santa Claus. Exactly, that's what it is. A little cape for Santa Claus, just like that, for Santa Claus. Spectacular. Another one, too, because I believe that one is for Angelina and one for Leslie. The candies are for me. And for Brian, I don't know, there's nothing. I've been eating the candies, so then it must have been... that's if I haven't forgotten something or something didn't get here, doesn't matter. The candies must have been for Brian and for me, but here everybody and their brother eats them. How? All the candies were for both of us. Okay, perfect. I believe that I've already presented absolutely everything. Many thanks. I have 2 pending presents, but I couldn't go because the mailbox was closed today. I could see the P.O. box there, but the problem is that they didn't leave it in the P.O. box, but rather there was a piece of paper that I have to sign, I have to present. And the office needs to be opened, but they don't open it any longer on Saturdays. Very well. As I was saying, that on the very last subject of Revelation 17:8, where we talked about where the Elohim of justice is, there are presented to you some possible dates of the 1290 in 1335. What happened is that in Hanukkah, precisely tomorrow at night, it'll be Hanukkah, letting you know, tomorrow night, Hanukkah will start, and you have it in your calendar. If you watch it in the Kislev calendar, that it's in the Eternal Truth official, also in the LVE Music group in Facebook. If you downloaded it, it starts on Monday, the 19th of December. It starts on the 25th of Kislev, which Hanukkah begins, but we know that it's when the sun goes down. So then on Sunday, when the sun goes down, Hanukkah begins. And also the little presents, because we accustomed to giving one little present per day, especially within the lineage. So then I have talked about 7 months ago that precisely Hanukkah, if you read it backwards, I don't want to mention it, but it says VACs and something else. Hanukkah, if you read it backwards, use something. It's what you will read. It's the same word in Spanish. It's Hanukkah, but the J is an H. It could be mute in Spanish, or else you have to say, I don't want to mention the word because I don't want them to ruin our channel or this video. You'll have the homework of turning the word Hanukkah around in Spanish. Hanukkah backwards is what the world has received. A solution for a problem that's made up in the mind of human beings. It could also be produced due to many other things, other systems of radiation, all the rest that I'm not going to get into right now. But in the solution, what they said that was going on in the world, and possibly so, it maybe it did take place because they used those Anukav against the flu. Anukav against the flu. What calls really my attention is that the first day of the Anukav was in Hanukkah. That right there, if you watch the one that I told you to watch, you already know. So then it was approved, Hanukkah was, on the first day of Hanukkah, the 25th of Kislev of the year 2020, corresponding to the 11th of December of the year 2020. That's when it was approved and it started. So then we said during that study, if Hanukkah is this prickly pear, the prickly pear is the abomination that maketh desolate. So then we'll start from this date, from the 1290, and we get to the 23rd of June of 2024. Horrible. Since they start together, 1290 and 1335. 1335 takes us to Wednesday, the 7th of August of the year 2024. Of course, in just our calculations, of course, Hanukkah is not the abomination that maketh desolate per se. No. But it's a part of, but the cup actually comes before this because it was introduced in the year 2019 when the campaign of Hanukkah started of the flu. And I'm saying way too much. I mean, being too explicit. That's when they placed some sort of product which is combined with, it could be radiation, some sort of, like that of cell phones. It would provoke for people to have certain things due to the toxin, like the first white horse, the toxin that it contained, the toxin or something that it contained. So then the abomination that makes desolate in the human being body does not come since the 11th of December of the year 2020. No, it comes before. That was just a solution due to the problem that they had already caused. The problem they had already caused is the abomination that makes desolate. Do you understand what I'm saying? The other one is just to end up fucking it up completely. To close up completely, end up fucking it all, comes the other thing. But the problem is that other one is, it's not that, no, the abomination comes before, so then these dates are discarded. We should not be here for 2024 with the same system. No, sir. Absolutely no, sir. So then, for those who are watching this and haven't watched the other ones, the other Shabbats that we preached different things in beliefs that has been preaching, the 1290, and the 1260 and the 1335 are the following ones. The 1260 is separated from the 1290 and 1335. The 1260 start, it's in what we understand today, and we clearly see it in the prophecy, at least today. The 20th of October of the year 2018 was Yom Kippur. The 20th of October of the year 2018, what event took place? There has to be an event with something that has to do with the temple, because the abomination would be in the temple, and there's not a better date to dictate either a purification or an abomination thereof than the day of Yom Kippur, which is the day in which the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, would enter into the most holy of holies and would purify the most holy place. So then if we want to purify our temple, it has to be in Yom Kippur. So then, precisely, and without designing absolutely anything, and we saw that at the end of the time, Yom Kippur, and the day of purification of the sanctuary, the 20th of October of the year 2018, 1 year prior, exactly 1 year prior, in order for the cup of wine to start of 2019, Yahweh sent us a message of purification of the sanctuary, nothing more. Incredibly so. It is absolutely unthinkable. This is a miracle. I'll put it at the level of a miracle because it was on that day without even thinking about it, without planning it, without understanding what would happen after that. Absolutely nothing. He senses the solution. He senses the solution of what would come 1 year prior after that. What did we learn? The new Germanic divine medicine. Something that's unthinkable for all of you. Maybe a couple of you knew the concept, but would not even start to practice it. And since the eternal truth would not practice that, you had it, some of you, but very, very few of you had it as something there, like something new to investigate. But we started to understand the true purification of our temple, how the temple works, how to get to the most holy place, what it is that the filth is produced in the temple, how to take out all the filth and the garbage that ruins and kills the temple out, how to start to cleanse it out. Precisely on Yom Kippur, that's incredible, undeniable. It's a historical event of the purification of the temple, Yom Kippur of the year 2018. October 20th of 2018, and if the purification would start there, it would have to have, in one way or another, a notable finalization. One thing is that it starts there, it has to start there. Okay, if it starts there, it has to end in a notable date, not just any date to say, you know what, you don't know. It doesn't coincide with anything, but oh well. No, it doesn't work that way. The prophecies of Yahweh are perfect. So then, without even thinking about it, without even planning it, we started to feel the need that we had to do something. And what shined in an incredible manner in our minds, chapter 7 of Daniel, which we had read so many times. But I mean, I can even say the quantity of times that we've read that chapter, Daniel chapter 7, since we were little. But it was so clear that there was going to be a judgment presided by the Ancient of Days in a wheelchair, and that the chosen judges were going to dictate a sentence against Babylon. We've read that so many times, and in our minds we thought that it was, I don't know, some group of saints in heaven that have never lived under Babylon or under the dominion of Babylon, nor lived here on earth, nor have anything to do with anything, and that weren't even human beings, they were angels. They were going to someday, because they got tired of it or wherever, make judgment. And those supreme saints were going to do a sentencing over everyone. It made no sense, but that is what the whole world believes. That is what we used to believe, and we had not even evaluated it correctly. Who is the one that does that judgment? And then after that judgment, the Son of Man is presented, that comes in the clouds of heaven, and they make him come to, not to earth, but they make him come to the Ancient of Days, who's in the wheelchair, per se. He doesn't do anything. A man in a wheelchair is an invalid. He doesn't, you already know this. So my grandma's in a wheelchair, you know that he's an invalid. That's the message that he's saying. I am an invalid because I don't want to do shit. You have to do it. I'm in my wheelchair. So then that is the message, absolutely. Now then all the Christians are waiting for that Yahweh, who has a son whose name is Christ, to come to earth. Says, no, hold on. Absolutely not. There's going to be a judgment. The one that's the invalid, symbolically invalid, is the all-powerful. But since he doesn't want to do shit, then he's an invalid. So then he's a cripple. So then I'm here in my wheelchair. They bring him after the judgment, the Son of Man. And it says that he comes with the clouds of heaven. You say, well, wow, the return of Christ to earth. No. He says he comes in the clouds of heaven up until the Ancient of Days. And what does the Ancient of Days do? The Ancient of Days gives him power, gives him dominion, gives him the control, and gives him all the kingdoms of heaven, so that they worship him, that he possessed those kingdoms because he owns it all. The Christians read that, and they say, oh, that's Jesus. who has nothing, who doesn't own anything. And that point in time is when the Father gives him something, and you say, wow, how ridiculous. That's so greatest stupidity of human beings, of course. Tell the truth, I cannot understand how we never saw this with clarity before. Actually, that Son of Man, up ahead, Daniel asks an angel, I want to know the truth about these things. What are these things? The angel tells him clearly, the Son of Man represents the people of the Supreme Saints. I mean, the whole world, apparently, it's veiled from the eyes of all the readers of the scriptures. Every reader of the scripture reads that, and they don't understand it. It's like they read it, and it isn't there. It doesn't exist. Because for them, the one that will own everything, the one that will reign with an iron rod to the nations, it's a Christ. It is their Christ. It is that same Christ that came 2,000 years ago, the Son of Man, the Son of God. And so they see that and they don't see that. They read it and they don't see it. They say they understand it, but they don't even reason it. The angel is telling John, look, that Son of Man is represented in a group. That group of the Supreme Saints, they will receive the judgment. They will receive the earth as an inheritance. The whole world will worship them. The whole world will serve them because they become an eternal government and forever. Not a Christ of 2,000 years ago, but rather the Christ formed. The Christ that is formed by the Son of Man. Who is the Son of Man? The Supreme Saints. It's just so marvelous. And studying that prophecy, with Leslie we said, and also I'll include Angelina and Brian, but we have to make judgment. Who the fuck's going to make a judgment for us? We've got this cripple in a wheelchair, invalid. You can see that he is handicapped. He's handicapped. Who was some little big-ass angels are going to do it for us? Why didn't they do these sons of bitches? Do it before. No, there's something that we have to, they're going to make a judgment, those who inherit the earth, and it says that it's the Supreme Saints. The Supreme Saints, yes. That's the Son of Man. That is the one that makes judgment. So then, we understood all the prophecies, and we said, we understood and said, we'll make judgment on this date, and we invited you to say, come dressed in black, we're going to do something special, we're going to do something unique, we're going to do something majestic, marvelous, and we did it. 2 days prior to doing it, we thought, might this have anything to do with the prophecy? Because how many days do we have forward and backwards? What does this mean? Why did we choose this date that was already chosen? The date was already chosen and published. That's when we said, let's see if it coincides with something. Anyway, since I know who guides us, let's see if the one who guides us in the wheelchair, let's see if he made it coincide with anything. 1,200 days prior, exactly Yom Kippur 2018. But that is just so that every single hair in your body to stand up. Because this is another miracle. A miracle that we learned in New Germanic Medicine, Yom Kippur 2018, when it was a year prior to the cup of wine to start in 2019, and then for 1,260 days of purification of the temple to start, and it would end precisely with a judgment. And that judgment, we did it the April 2nd of this year, 2022, and precisely that day chosen, it was Adar 30th, the last day of the year 5,990, and we're going to pass on to the year 5,991. In that year, that day, that last day of the year of the calendar of Elohim, we did judgment. 1,200 days exactly from the beginning of the purification of the temple that we saw who we are, the Son of Man, and we noticed how and what not to do, what Babylon will try to give us to drink by all the means possible It's what we should not do exactly. We understood it with such a clarity, incredibly so, with time to spare, incredibly so, and we even have time to spare so that when the problem of 2019 came, we would be laughing our asses off. It's not that we were laughing our asses off, it's that we saw it absolutely as ridiculous. Why? Because we had been protected. 1260 days after, we had a judgment. And this is something that's so meaningful, because if you start to see what happened in the world after the judgment, they started to, all the pressures to be loose. Now there's no more restriction. But I want to make you go back 7 months ago. The pressure due to Hanukkah stopped. Yeah, they continue bothering, they continue to bother, that it's convenient for you to wear this, or to have a new dose. It's convenient to all that, it's all convenient. The press would say, the social media would say, but the pressure is over. The pressure that you have to take this test, it's all over. Sometimes you couldn't even see a concert or anywhere if you didn't have or a mask, or if you didn't have the test and the other thing. But that is gone. It went after the 1260. You see this. It doesn't mean that they're not going to try it again. It doesn't mean. What I'm saying is that we were protected during these 1260 days, as the prophecy says that the little horn that represents Babylon would try. They were going to think of changing the times, because they want to reset everything. And the laws about how they want to take away all your liberty and freedom of choice, in that our body is theirs. Liberty annulled. That is what they wanted, but he was going to think. But how long did he have? 1260, and the time is over, and I had to let go of the pressure. But I want you to see this clearly. Elohim says, do whatever you can for 1260. Pressure, scare them, obligate them, do whatever you want. But you have 1260 days, because afterwards there's a sentence. And after the sentence, what starts, you're going to have to start to let go of everything. And that was fulfilled to the letter. And you might say, but Hanukkah 2019, what does it have anything to do with October 20th, 2018? What is Hanukkah 2019? I'm not trying to say Hanukkah, but I'm trying to say the cup of wine 2019. What does it have to do with Yom Kippur 2018? It's got a lot to do with it, because that's when the campaign of the flu of Hanukkah started. And every product that is placed into your organism, they start to add the toxin. So then the problem, to be able to generate it and call it the cup of wine 2019, they had to place something before. And while we were understanding what is the purification of the temple, why in our temple happens what happens, and how to prevent it and or correct it, Babylon started to add toxin everywhere silently, so that a year afterwards they said, oh, what's going on here? Look at what's going on. This is happening. They had done it before. They had 1260 days to add pressure. Now, only the idiots, completely idiotic people, go and look for them for protection. But the people are already mid-intelligent. They said, nah. Another one of those things I don't want. I accepted one, and some say I didn't accept any, and now I don't want anything. Because you start to see the result of that. You start to see people falling like flies everywhere. There's a result. So then the people start to suspect, just medium like. I'm talking about stupid, blind people, but just even so, they said, this is sus. It was sus for us since the first fucking moment. It stunk since it started. Because already, while for the world it started silently, for us it started the purification. For them, what started was a poisoning, a collective poisoning, and for us, a collective purification, but only for that which is the wife of Yahweh, no one else. So then, we've got the 1260 days of Yom Kippur 2018 that end in the judgment, and then after the judgment, Babylon let go of all the measures. Up until now, there's no measures. Maybe a couple stupid idiots here and there that might say, nah, there's no measures whatsoever. Is it true what I'm saying or not? They had to let go. That little horn had to let go. What happened there? 1290 and 1335, they start together, absolutely together. Why? Because precisely Daniel chapter 12, 11, I'm going to read it in the Torres Amat Spanish version, which says, and from the time in which the sacrifice perpetual, in other words, just the sacrifice, and be enthroned in the temple, the abomination of desolation, and it be placed in the temple, enthroned in the temple, placed in the temple, the abomination of desolation, 1290 days shall pass. Blessed is he that waiteth and get to 1335 days. So then the 1260, it's a timeline that's independent to the 1290 and 1335. 1260, it's a time in which the beast will try with all their strength to do everything they can to mark all the people, especially the people, the special people. But he cannot, because the special people were forewarned by Yahweh. They were trained by Yahweh. They were trained by Yahweh so that they could discover this stupid plan. So then, 9th of October of the year 2019, 1 year after we had learned NMG, there's another Yom Kippur, the following Yom Kippur. In that Yom Kippur is when what starts is at least silently, and they let it be known some days later, but prophetically it starts in that Yom Kippur, the abomination that maketh desolate in an official manner, with a special name, the cup of wine 2019, and I can't say anything else. You perfectly well understand it. It's the cup of wine. The cup of wine. A cup of wine 2019. Only 1 year had passed from one Yom Kippur to another. The first Yom Kippur was so that we would start the purification and the prevention for the entire world. And the following Yom Kippur, what starts is the abomination that makes desolate, with a name, the cup of wine 2019. If to that beginning we add 1,290, we have to get to, if this is true, if this is not something fabricated and that we're trying to make dates match, no. Starting from the only possible date from an abomination in the temple, because from the temple, what they celebrated is in Yom Kippur. If we add 1,290, it has to take us to an important date, not just any date, an important date. And what date does it take us to from Yom Kippur 2018, 1,290 days afterwards? It takes us to April 21st, 2023. That is the last day of the year 5,991. When the sun goes down. When the sun goes down, what starts is the Jubilee. The Jubilee which we, those who did the judgment, declared. If we had power and authority to make judgment, of course we've got power and authority to declare the Jubilee. Not just declare it just because of our balls, because we wanted to know. We declared it because we were within those prophetic days. We weren't going to do a judgment and then 10 years afterwards Babylon would fall. It makes no sense. Precisely the judgment, the prophecy of Daniel 7 is during the government of the little horn, which has 1,260 days to act with all its strength. During that prophetic time, the judgment has to come. So then during Yom Kippur 2018 up until April 2nd, until precisely April 2nd of 2022, there the judgment had to come. And that's where the judgment came, the last day of its power, believe it or not. That's where the judgment came. And after that, from that judgment on, it lost its power. That's why there's no restriction now. That's why they didn't ask for anything in the World Cup, no masks, no tests, nor Hanukkah, nothing. Nothing. Why? Because of the judgment that we did, believe it or not. Believe it or not. Someday you'll see it. And it'll make you think that's incredible. The judgment made for the beast to lose its power. That judgment had to be during those 1260 days, and it precisely came on the last day of the 1260 days. We couldn't even go past that. So then, precisely from Yom Kippur of the following year, during the government or the power of the beast to its maximum power, in that intent of changing the times and the law, it is born, and they declare the cup of wine 2019. If to that we add 1290, it takes us to the last day, and the sun sets, and it's the first day of the year 5992. So then, why did we declare Jubilee? Because we've got the right. Because we saw that the Jubilee comes immediately after the 1260. But of course, it's not that the beast has all its power in 1260. When it closes down all the churches, everything, companies, people lost their jobs, people were desperate, shut them inside their own homes. That is the maximum power that the beast was given. It closed the beast, closed the churches, commercials, markets, everything, made people to test whatever they wanted, and they reduced tests and all kinds of things, so then later to finish up with the final solution. It sounds horrible, but it's the final solution. Final solution is what? Hanukkah. Hanukkah. So then, the prophetic time is fulfilled. There was no other option than to declare Jubilee for the year 5092. There's no other turn of the page. Absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible. But the coincidence, I'm going to say it like that, the coincidence, which is another miracle, that from Yom Kippur 2019 plus 1290 days, we precisely get the last day of the year and also a part of the first day of the year. But that could be only because that year was a leap year. That's why 1290, or else the 1290 could not exist. If in this calendar, in our calendar, it would not have been a leap year, we had to start the month prior, the year prior. This year, thanks to this year, that we're going to have 13th month, which is Adar the 2nd, we get to the 1290. Have you ever even thought about that? Why Yahweh made it be 1290? Because he calculated that in the year that his people, the supreme saints, the Son of Man, was to declare the Jubilee, there was going to be an added month. So then in that added month, it's not 1290. You have to add more. That is the only reason of why it's 1290. Had you ever even thought about that? This is more than marvelous. This year, the sun did not go past from the southern part to the northern part when the equinox came. The equinox came from spring, and still, when the equinox came and the sun was still there, the moon no longer was seen. And since the moon no longer was seen, automatically, since we learned a very ancient rule that very few people know about, we learned that that was the moment of adding one more month. The Jews, Orthodox Jewish people, and all of Israel, and all the Messianic, did not add another month because they don't follow those astronomical rules. Yahweh said that he placed the sun, the moon, and the stars to determine the months. So then the only thing that determines the months It's not an algorithm. It's not the barley in Israel. It's the sun, the moon, and the stars. The moon was not seen when the equinox happened, which means that it had already hidden itself and you have to add another month. By adding another month, it becomes 1260 to 1290. Do you think that these is all just chances that, oh, they stuck to us because I'm Argentinian, because I speak well, because I'm the best? No, absolutely not. They are not by chance. It is prophecy before our eyes. It was the role was being opened in an incredible way. And since I'd already added 30 more days, Yahweh says, "Blessed and happy is he that waiteth until 1335." And the 1290 precisely begin on the new year, the 1290. And the 1335, what does that begin? What, it's another date that's just random. No, it's another interesting date. What date is it? Takes us to June 5th. From October 9th of Yom Kippur, the same date that starts the 1290, if we add instead of 1290, 1335 days, it takes us to another date that we had and kind of discarded, which is called 217, the 17th of Ziv. The 17th of Ziv. And what takes place on 217? What does 217 have anything to do? Notice the coincidences. 1290, Yom Kippur, 2018, Judgment, last day of the year. Not just any day, last day of the year. What starts is another Yom Kippur, 1290, because Yahweh calculated that it would be a leap year, and it takes us precisely to the last and first day of the new year, which we declared a Jubilee. And 1335 takes us to 217. What is 217? 217, the scripture says in Bereshit that all the fountains of the waters were open. That is when the deluge started. The 17th day of the second month is when the great flood started. And Yeshua says, like in the days of Noah, so shall also be the return of the Son of Man. Because they'll be celebrating, eating, getting married, building, getting engaged, feasts, and you'll say, why? Because the shut-in has already passed. Because the cup of wine has already passed. Because they already gave us our freedom back. So then what do the people do? Feast, work, they get married. People said, oh, it's over, it's over. No, it's optional. I wore it once, twice, 3 times, but I'm no longer going to wear it anymore, they say. Because it's already over. They don't really demand the test or the mask or to stay at home. Churches are open. I can go back to opening God and the Christ and everything in the churches. Oh, I can go to the music concerts. I can go to the mall. I can go and buy freely. Everything has gone back to normal peace and security in the world. Because the cup of wine 19 passed. Precisely, as Yeshua says, they'll be celebrating, getting married, constructing. It won't be a time of tear. It says, so it shall be the return of the Son of Man. So it shall be what? The return of the Son of Man. Compared with the return of the waters of the great flood. Who is the Son of Man? It's that Jesus comes in the clouds of heaven. No, the Son of Man are the supreme saints. The supreme saints is the Christ. It is the wife of Yahweh. And they have a date for its return, according to this prophecy. According to this prophecy. Yeshua says so. I don't have the right now, but let's read it. Yeshua says so. Let's go to Matthew. Matthew 24. Matthew 24, which reads as follows. 36. But of the day and hour no one knoweth. I'll leave this clear. No one has the power of saying it. Not even the angels of heaven, but only my Father. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also be the coming of the Son of Man. The coming of the Son of Man, not the end of the world. the coming of the Son of Man, which we know what it means, which is the showing the Son of Man to the world. Now it's hidden, but it's for the world to see in one way or another, or at least for the Son of Man to already receive something that will train him for the conquering of Babylon. But as in the days of Noah, so it shall be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day, what day? 2:17, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not, they won't understand. They don't know who the Son of Man is. They're still waiting for the Christ. Others are waiting for rapture, and knew not, until the flood came. In this case, not a flood, but the Son of Man comes. Until the flood came and took them all. So shall also be the coming of the Son of Man. The Son of Man comes, and possibly so, during these 1335. Blessed is he that get to the 1335. Then shall there be two in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. Wow. One shall be taken and the other shall be left. But who's going to take him? The Son of Man will take him. The Son of Man will say, this for me. The other one I'll leave in the field. Two women shall be grinding at the mill. The one shall be taken and the other left. But they say, well, these two women, this one's good, the other one aren't good. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. Your Lord. This is talking to the disciples and to the Christians, that your Lord is the Son of Man. It's the Son of Man. That your Lord is the Lord of the world, the owner of the world. It's the supreme saints, the Christ. Marvelous. This is absolutely marvelous. But I don't want to deviate from today's subject. That 1335, coincidentally, by a miraculous way, falls on 2:17. And one will say, never in my life did I ever see a coincidence between, quote unquote, that's so great, because I've never seen it. We could be wrong. Because we are on the watch every second, every day. But a coincidence of this magnitude, since a Yom Kippur starts, 1260 days of purification of the temple, and we make judgment precisely in the center of the government of the little horn, which has a specific time to act, where this world placed it on its knees. A judgment is made. Then afterwards, after the 1290, they start in the following Yom Kippur, of when the other date started. And for 1290, because there is a leap year, it ends precisely the last day of the year and precisely already part of the new year, giving a beginning to a Yom Kippur, giving a beginning to a Jubilee, is what I'm trying to say. And 1335 from the same date of Yom Kippur of the Cup Wine of 2019, plus 1335, we get to the date which Yeshua said, so it shall be as in the days of Noah. Now, I've always asked myself, why did I teach you in the series of Tribulation 2:17? I saw it so clear. On that date when I taught you the Great Tribulation, maybe in the year 2017. I saw 2:17, I said, this is the date. And nothing happened. Another deception, another letdown. Why did I learn it? And then now it was the other 2:17. Another letdown. Why? But now it makes sense what we learned and we failed are essential points that when you place them in the timeline that's coherent and real, you say, wow. So then, of course, that we had to learn in 2:17 because I would not have learned it before. Now I can put together the stars that were left, per se, to stop shining because they did not coincide in the times that I learned them. I take it from there because I learned that is an important date and I place it in the concept that it really is, and you say it really shines here. And I had to learn that concept even though I made a mistake, even though I would suffer and go through a horrible time of letdown to understand the meaning of 2:17. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you clearly understand what I'm saying? So then later, placed in the real panoramic view, when the things are being fulfilled, then you say that's where 217 really goes. I had placed this date outside this place of the piece of the cube or the puzzle. I placed it elsewhere, but it's a date. It's a valid piece. It'd be great for everything to be fulfilled. I don't see the future. I'm not a seer of the future. The Ancient of Days is handicapped, doesn't give me any visions. But nothing makes more logic than what I've just explained today, because it is hallucinating. Let us see how many likes we have. 211 likes. Let's see if they go up. Did somebody forget to give us a like that were paying attention to my words and they forgot to give a like? They were concentrated. Why Eddie has the Argentinian flag. Eddie, why do you have the Argentinian flag if you're English? I'll say that afterwards then. He told me something. He told me something very important. He said something very important. But I don't want to say it now because we'll see that later. Wow, Eddie, you are a champion. Just like that, you're a champion. He says, yes, you are a champion. How beautiful does that flag look on you? Very well. Those who forgot to give us a like, give me a like if you like what you are listening to. And if not, you can go fuck off. Just like that. With love and care, there's the door. Fuck off. That is how this preacher preaches. This passion has no equal. If you don't like it, then you can go fuck off. Back to your mother's cunt. Since we're speaking as Argentinians. Angelina, you had told me that I hadn't used that phrase. There it is. Those who don't like this, you can go back to your mother's cunt. If you don't know what that is, then leave either way. Since you don't know what that is. But it's the cunt that bore you. Go back to that. Because Yeshua said you have to be born again. When he told Nicodemus, you have to be born again. You know what he said in Argentinian? He says, Nicodemus, go back to your mother's cunt. How? How? And he understood, how can I go back by my mother's cunt and be born again? He says, I'm sorry, Nicodemus. If you don't go to your mother's cunt, you will not see the kingdom of Elohim. Oh, how well did Yeshua preach? That is the Spirit. That is the Spirit. If you don't like it, then you're not prepared for this. You're not prepared for what's coming. For the coming of the Son of Man. You are not prepared for that. You need a lot more. A lot more. Very well. So then, Shema Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our Elohim, Yahweh is one. John 8:31 through 32. Then Yeshua said unto the Jews that had believed on him, if ye remain in my word, then ye shall truly be my disciples, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Today we shall know a truth that you know, but you know it at a subconscious level. You don't know it at a conscious level, because if you knew it at a conscious level, you wouldn't say the stupid shit that many of you said some time ago. So then, today I will relate a truth that is within already, which you have seen, but you have not related with reality. It'll be shocking, but it's the truth. It's the only truth there is. Proverbs 25:2. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word. It is completely concealed, the word is. Yet it is the glory of the king to search out the word. Only the king has the glory of understanding what is concealed, to take off the cover to the word. Jeremiah 16:19 through 21. Nakarkolunga, Yahweh, my strength and my fortress, my refuge in the day of tribulation. Unto thee shall come the peoples from the ends of the earth, and shall say, only lies were the inheritance of our parents, Vanity to which there is no avail. Only lies was the interpretation of our fathers of the Bible. Only lies was what we learned from the Bible. Vanity to which there is no avail, if it is man that makes himself gods. We made us Trinitarian gods. We made us Binitarian gods. We never understood who the gods were. If it is man that makes his own gods, then they are not gods. That is why today I shall make it be known. This time I shall show ye the strength of mine arm, and ye shall know that my name is Yahweh. Who taught you to be nervous, that it is a sin, that it is a curse, or something non-Christian? Yeah, we could say non-Christian to a preacher to say phrases that you think that are evil in the Christian church. We're not Christian, and we could give a fuck what the Christians say. That is why if you come here to my channel to say, oh, what a mouth this guy has on him, I say, go back to your mother's cunt. Because you should not listen to me. You are a Christian sheep that should not listen to me. The sheep do not get together with the lions for a reason. They will get together with the lions, but the lions are too violent. Of course they're violent. A whole flock of sheep say, hey, why are you so violent? Why do you roar that way when I eat us? Or why do you comport yourselves that way? Because you don't belong to this group. This group is a pride. It's a pride of lions. It's a pride that is very different to what was taught in the churches. So then if it still bothers you in your little brain, minuscule brain, the words and expressions that I use, it means that you don't belong here. A lion receives this as if it were a hallelujah, glory to God. What does it receive? That you're a son of a bitch. He says, glory to God. We are sons of bitches. How do I love this? It'd be very different if the guy would not use that expression. The piece of shit sheep, from the very moment that I started to preach, they said, cut your hair. Because Paul says that it's dishonorable for a man to wear long hair. And I say, Paul and you both go to your mother's cunt, both of you. Paul because he said stupid shit. Paul because he said stupid shit, and you because you believe them. And because you made yourself beliefs. And then they told me, if you don't wear a tie, they won't listen to you. I wish I could give these subjects to my family. A group of starving people. I wish I could give these subjects to my family, but I can't share you because you have long hair. You don't wear a tie. And to top it off, you wear those expressions that came later. They came later, right? But to top it off, up until today, they say, I would share your subject with my family, but those expressions, they won't understand them. And I tell you, you should not share the subject with your family. Because someone that is not prepared to understand the phrases that I say, I don't even want them in my group. I'm not looking for followers here. I'm not looking to say, oh, how many of you want to come? One more to save, one more by the blood of Christ. That'll save you. No, fuck that. I don't want that. I don't want that. Fuck off with that shit. I'm not saying come here because the blood of Christ saves you. No, I am saying I want a special group, which are the Christ. That later we have to do an incredible work on earth. And the last thing that I want is a piece of shit person to come and tell me, you have long hair, you don't wear a tie, and you have a dirty mouth. Say, no, sir. What you hear are the roars of a lion that you could not, a fucking sheep like you could not take the roaring of a lion. You're going to run as far away as possible. So then, please, don't ever tell me, I would share the subjects if only you didn't speak that way. The one who told me that, the one who believes that, go to your mother's cunt, because it's a true son of a bitch. That is what I have to say. The rest. Now, the rest of the lions that are in this pride, it's a small pride. Welcome. Welcome. If you cannot bear that, who shall bear his coming? It says precisely the prophecy of Elijah. Who shall be able to bear his coming? Who can bear it? But of course, very few people can bear it. And that's precisely our experience. That they cannot bear us and they want to change us. They want to change us because they see an incredible message, but they cannot take it. because they say, I cannot take these words. I don't want you here, you son of a bitch. I don't want you here. Fuck off where you belong. Very well. I speak to all, and I know that every one of you, the true LVE, understand this absolutely well. Malachi 2:17, and that's why Eddie, one of the reasons why Eddie's here. Malachi 2:17. You already know that 2:17 is the true fulfillment of the 1335. How incredible, 1335, which according to our best calculations, it'll be June 5th of the year 2023. If nothing happens, well, we're used to disappointments and all the rest. What are we to do? But we get excited. Why do I get excited? Why do I get excited without ever seeing a fucking vision? Without hearing a voice from heaven? Why do I get excited? Because I see a possibility that's insurpassable, as we've never had before. A line of coincidences, not one, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coincidences. The first one begins in Yom Kippur, 2018. New Germanic Message, a coincidence, quote unquote. Plus 1260, the judgment end. Oh, what a coincidence. Precisely 1260. What a coincidence, right? What a coincidence. And then you've got the coincidence of Daniel chapter 7. What a coincidence. That the little horn has 1260 days to act. What a coincidence. And that within that time you have to have a judgment. What a coincidence. And that after that judgment, it loses its power. What a coincidence that now it's as if nothing happened. 1290 takes off in the other Yom Kippur. What a coincidence. And it ends precisely due to there being a leap year. What a coincidence. Because there's an Adar 2, 1290, and we get to when the Jubilee begins. What a coincidence. And taking off from the same date, Yom Kippur 2019. What a coincidence. 1335 plus, we get to another coincidence because the year is a leap year, 217. Wow, what a coincidence. If the year were not a leap year, we would have advanced from that year unto the first day of the second month. And then after that, it'd be a 317, not a 217. Does it coincide with anything, a 317? No, not with shit. But this, what I'm presenting to you, coincides with everything. It coincides absolutely with everything. That's why I'm excited. For disappointments, there's always time. And we're already used to that. Just like with Argentina. We're used to disappointments. Malachi 2:17, ye have wearied Yahweh with your words, yet ye say, wherein have we wearied him? Let's see when. When ye say, everyone that doth evil is good in the sight of Yahweh, and he delighteth in them. Or where is the Elohim of judgment? Whomever doeth evil pleaseth Yahweh. Those are the ones that have money. Those are the ones that have the government. That have power. It's the judicial system. Everything. It would seem as if the evil, these sons of bitches, are the ones who please Yahweh because they have the power, they have money, they have control of our lives, they make laws. Of course, whoever that do evil pleaseth Yahweh. We don't just say, where's the Elohim of justice, but also that every son of a bitch, it would seem as if they please Yahweh because he gives them power, he gives them money, he gives them everything. Incredible. So then what is the solution to these two questions? And Yahweh says so. I hereby send you the angel of the covenant, whether you like it or not. Here is the angel of the covenant, and the angel of the covenant is Elijah at Cyrus. That is the solution. The solution is here. Proverbs 25, 2, which we've already read, about the concealed word. Anyways, let's go to the text of the invitation. Let's go to the text of the invitation. Revelation 12:1 reads as follows. And there appeared in heaven a great wonder, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Today we shall study what Revelation 12 is not. Let me repeat myself. Today we shall study what Revelation 12 is not. In the following chapter, part 2, which will be precisely the night of Christmas, a preamble of Christmas next Shabbat, we shall study what Revelation 12 really is. I divided it so to make a shorter subject and so that the following subject is also short, but just as impressive, because it's a night and it's a present of Christmas. Very well. Leslie posted in the precious invitation of the woman dressed with the sun. She put another version, which I'll read, which is the NLT. It says, "Then I witnessed in heaven an event of great significance. I saw a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon beneath her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head." What does this mean? I will not tell you. As Pastor Bouillon once said, that shrimp head of a pastor, as they called him, is like, who is the beast? I won't tell you. You're going to have to find out on your own. That's the way of preaching of these pastors. I will not tell you. What does Revelation 12 mean? I will not tell you. But I will tell you today what it is not, and what we believed and what the entire world believes. But because it's so concealed, the word is, that it takes you to the craziest symbols that there is, and it would seem that there are harmony, because the way I'm going to explain it now, it's as we've always believed it, as the Adventist Church believes it, the Baptist Church, the Catholic Church, the entire world believes it, with different tones here and there, but generally, this is the popular belief. Unique and popular. The truth is that this sign, appeared in heaven for the first time in unique time in the year 2017. The 23rd of September of the year 2017, that I can't remember now if it was Yom Kippur or if we were about to enter into Yom Kippur. Really, I can't remember it at this point in time because I didn't think about saying this today, but next Shabbat. But since we're on this, then let me find my place. If it's Yom Kippur precisely, or it was about to be Yom Kippur, or it still needed time for Yom Kippur. When they write there, let me know, Leslie. I gave a subject that was wrong. Of course, it was wrong. Many subjects that I explained this. That's why I decided not to upload the Great Tribulation series, because it's a pre-series to the great wisdom that Elohim gave us. It's a pre-series to Yahweh Elohim. September 23rd, 2017, what was it? We still needed very little for it. But sometimes it's closer, right? Yeah, it was. We were waiting for Yom Kippur, but oh well. It was almost going to be Yom Teruah. Trumpets. Very well. This sign, it was a sign. How so? It's an second. So then it was in Yom Teruah. Yom Teruah, because the first of Etanim is precisely when it was giving birth. What happened on September 23rd? Precisely Yom Teruah. Trumpets, what happened? During 9 months, we saw the constellation of Virgo that had, since I was not prepared for this, had Jupiter, I believe, Jupiter in its womb. Jupiter in its womb, and had it there for 9 months. For 9 months, and after the 9th month, it came out of the legs. And we, knowing this sign, we didn't discover it, but other groups did. They said that precisely, and we saw this, they said that precisely it would be for the first time in history, in only time, that it would have 2 stars, because generally it has 9. Because it's the constellation of Leo above, the constellation of Leo above has 9 stars. But 3 planets would add themselves to this, the known planets, Those that really turn and move, not the rest. The rest are just painted on. The three planets that actually do make a circle upon the flat earth, they were going to be for 9 months above her. So then they had the ninth of Leo plus these three circumstantial ones. It was 12 stars upon its head. And Jupiter was going to be for 9 months in her womb and was to get out. A sign in heaven, what it says, and a sign in heaven. I saw a virgin of Bethuwlah. This is the constellation of the Virgin. The Jews know this clearly. Who could be any more clear? It had never been given all the characteristics for it to have all the stars. The constellation of Leo has 9 visible ones. Some say there are more, but you can't see them visibly. You see the 9, plus the 3 extra ones that were planets, plus it was going to be pregnant for 9 months, plus that it was going to give birth precisely in Yom Teruah. So then, it was a coincidence in the year 2017. Another one of the supposed bitter drinks that we had. Another one of the prophecies that were non-fulfilled. Because we had the sign, we saw it for 9 months, because I told you about this throughout a long time. I don't know if the 9 months, but the last months, we always saw it above my house. I would encourage you to see it, those who were a part of the eternal truth, so that you see the sign. We could see it for 9 months. It wasn't just one day, but for 9 months, Virgo, with its 2 stars that you could barely see, but for the rest of the city, with its 2 stars, and with Jupiter in its womb, precisely. So then, when another disappointment was fulfilled. Why? Because nothing happened. We thought that on that Yom Teruah of 217, Jesus would come in the clouds of heaven. We thought that Jesus would come in the clouds of heaven. We believed because Christ was coming in the clouds of heaven to look for us. To look for us where? To take us to heaven. We were wrong in everything. To top it off, we had 2 gods, the Father and the Son. But this prophecy was true. Why? Because it was a prophecy that the woman was pregnant. It was a prophecy that the woman was pregnant. It was a sign that the woman was pregnant and that she was going to give birth. That we shall study next Shabbat. That we shall study next Shabbat. Now let us study what it is not. But it would seem logical, but is not. Revelation 12:1. And there appeared in heaven a great sign, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. The Christian interpretation is that that woman is Israel, not the modern Israel, but rather the Israel of 2,000 years ago. This prophecy is one that is from the true birth of Yeshua, Jesus, to the persecution of the last saint on earth. It is incredible for them to believe this, and that we have believed this when Revelation never returns. Revelation is not a book to tell you the story that already happened, because when Revelation was written, it had already happened. So what sense is there for John to see a sign of something that had already happened? Do you understand what I'm saying? But that doesn't matter. Yahweh does things so incredibly so that they're all deceived, because he conceals the word. He conceals it. It's concealed. So then the natural, that which is natural and logical, it is not. Always in the Bible it says, this says, of course, he's the Son of God. He's the Son of God. That is not. That right there is not. The Satan, devil, owner of the world, the enemy of God, that is not. So then why do you have to fulfill all the commandments to be saved? That right there, it is not. So then what is it? It is concealed. It is concealed. You have to, I'm not saying to have the capacity, but to have the ear that Yahweh gives you that he begat you with that ear to understand. That's why it doesn't matter whether I wear a shirt, wear a tie, cut my hair, and not say stupid shit. And what I mean by that is bad word. If I don't say, and I have a pure and holy language like that, it would be no good. Because the people that I would get for them to see this are no good and are not. Those people that cannot stand an expression that's so noble as son of a bitch, they could not stand what the wife will be. They could not stand it. If those are the people that you have in their minds that Christ is coming to save them from their sin, save them from their persecution, save them from their family, save them from the situation, the economical situation, to live and go to heaven, they could not understand ever. So then, Yahweh knows how to do things. We continue on with the Christian explanation. That woman is Israel of 2,000 years ago. She's dressed with the sun because Yahweh illuminates her, because he blessed her. You are my people, my chosen people, very chosen. And the moon has below her feet because she keeps the feasts of Yahweh. That's a little more deep right there, that interpretation right there. Very good one, a very good one. Many of these things will go to the true explanation. It's got the moon below her feet because she's sitting in the feasts of Yahweh. And upon her head, a crown of 12 stars. What does this mean? Well, most interpret that it's the 12 tribes of Israel, and a minority interprets that it's the 12 disciples. Some interpret that it's both things. Anything that has to do with 12 is 12. How many things of 2 do we have? All the 12 tribes and also the 12 disciples. Even though there were more tribes and one was lost of the disciples, Judas, they say that he was lost. They say he was lost. Poor Judas. He was one of the most useful ones and rebel ones because he didn't want to do what he did, but Satan entered him. And says, no, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me. So then in the doubt, he says, maybe the guy said, I'm not going to turn him in. And Satan entered him. So Satan entered him. And since Satan entered him, he raised up and did it. He'd had a neuromodulation. He stopped thinking by himself, and someone else thought for him. Then he went as an automaton to turn Jesus in. What an evil Judas is. No, the evil one was the Satan that entered him. And who's that Satan? The same one which Yeshua said, Satan has asked Peter, he has asked for you specifically that you be tested. I'm going to give you to him that you be tested. Satan has asked to test you. This is the same one, Satan, same one. It is the serpent of old, exactly. The serpent of old, that one that was raised by Moses, that's Satan. That one that was prickling and killing people, that was Satan. The same one that got the crown of thorns, the same one. But the people don't understand this. So then they read and they say, oh, of course, it's Israel. Those 12 stars are the 12 tribes. And so then this woman is blessed by God. Oh, how pretty, a pure and holy woman. Let me ask you, Israel, when Yeshua came, was it a woman that was blessed by Yahweh? And was she radiant, illuminated by the sun, and sitting under the moon? Was that Israel? Wow, how did they make things up? Because that's so pretty, that story is. Oh, yeah, that's it. No! Israel was a piece of shit, as always. The temple was about to be destroyed, but of course, precisely on the year 70, 70 years later, it was going to be destroyed, its temple and its city, off the map. So then, we're in the presence of something else here, and it was dominated by Rome. It's not a radiant woman the way it's seen there. No, that was not Israel, but of course not. It was a prostitute, a hood rat hoe, of ill repute, as the Bible says, for being a hoe and a fourth-class prostitute, that it says that even she would pay them for them to do her. As the prophecy says, saying to top it off, you were not a prostitute like your other sisters. You would pay your lovers. You wouldn't even charge. She would pay for her lovers. That is the woman when Yeshua came. That is the woman when Yeshua came. And that woman, due to her sins and her wickedness, she was being dominated by Rome. So then, how can they make this prophecy fit in? I don't understand it. How did I believe it that way? I don't know. But I'll move on. That is what these people believe in too. And she was being with child. She was pregnant. Cried, travailing in birth, of course, because she was about to give birth. She was being subjugated by Rome. No, 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 no. It says that she would cry out because she was about to give birth. Not that she cried because she was being persecuted. Not that she cried because she was subjugated by Rome. The pains were produced because she was about to give birth. Do we agree with that? Because they interpreted that she was anguished because she was being persecuted and subjugated by Rome. No! The scripture says that she was pregnant, that she was with child, and she would cry out with pains of travailing birth. Like any woman, she was about to give birth. She had pain, a tribulation. And she was travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. Travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. In heaven, it would seem to be another figure. In heaven. And behold, a great red dragon. It says scarlet here, but it says living red in the original scripture. Living red. A great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. Who is this dragon? Every Christian that exists and that has ever existed, alive or dead, every messianic that exists and that's ever existed, living or dead, every person that has ever read Revelation and they believe it, they will say that that dragon was the devil, Satan, because they're going to say in the text 9, it says who it is. Number 9, it says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan. That's it. It's over. It's more than closed. That dragon, that serpent of old, even has a name, devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. What a great one. But I won't tell you. He was cast out into the earth. Wow. So then he was in heaven, you see? He was cast out into the earth, and his angels was cast out with him. That's it. When the scripture, which is all symbolism, you read it this way, that's it. It's over. There is no form for the human mind to understand it another way. If it's saying it's the dragon, it's the devil and Satan. And the devil, and you think you know who the devil and Satan is. To top it off, he's got a group of angels that follow him, and to top it off, he was in heaven, he was cast out to earth. What else is there? That's it. It's more than clear. That's the devil and Satan. Who's the dragon? Who's the serpent of old that deceived Eve? That devil persecuted a group of people. A group of angels, pardon me, a group of angels followed him. Now it's going to say how much was that group of angels. And they were in heaven. They were in heaven. And it falls upon earth. Wow. It is more than clear. There's no way of being able to see something else. Or is there? Well, the eternal truth sees things that nobody else sees. But I won't tell you. 3. We've already read it, which is the devil and Satan. 4, and his tail, with the tail that we all know, they're going to tell you that tail is lies because it's in Isaiah, and next Shabbat, I'll read it to you. And his tail, the tail is the lie, and its tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven. And he took the 3rd part of the angels. Ellen G. White saw this. She saw it. It was a battle. The eternal God was in an unreachable light, and you had Jesus to a normal level that they could see him, and Lucifer was there. Lucifer was the director of the heavenly choir, and he was the next in rank after Jesus. He had an impressive power, the guy did. So then he felt. Now here comes what is called the mystery of iniquity. something surged up in that perfect mind because he was the most beautiful angel. He was the most virtuous angel. He was the most hung angel. The most worshipped angel per se. The angel that followed Yeshua in rank. And you're like, why do you have to say that he was the most hung? Because who knows? He was the most hung. He had everything bigger, the wings, everything. He was the most hung. He was the most macho. He was the leader. He was the leader. He had the biggest crosier because he was the leader. You see, the crosier to direct the choir. So he had the biggest one. That angel was the highest in rank, but he had a little problem. And he would see Jesus, whom he didn't really know who he was, and he would gather together with God. And he was not invited. That's what Ellen G. White would tell us. So then he would not be invited, and he'd be like, why does he get to talk with the Almighty, not I? No, that guy, I'm going to bring him down. It was not the war against the Almighty, it was the war against Christ. Who the fuck does Christ think he is? Mentions him with title and law. The Christ, although there had never been a Christ yet, he was the Christ. It says, and the hate he had against Christ. Who the fuck was Christ? He would hate Christ. He'd hate Christ. So then one day, he got together with the angels and said, you know what? I'm done with this. That Christ is unfair. I am more righteous than him. Who will follow me? Follow me, all you good ones. So then one third of them got together with him. Maybe the ones in the choir, the best singers, they got together with him. Or the ones that liked him because he had the biggest one. They followed him. And he says, and what about you? Oh no, we're going to stay here. The little angels with their ass hanging out. We're going to stay here. And what about you? Oh, we'll follow you, Lucifer. We'll follow you. So then Christ came, that one Christ, and he came to speak with everyone and says, guys, don't do this. Don't do this. I'm the Son of God. This guy's a created angel. There's no comparison. I am begotten, and he's created. Let's do something. Let's gather together. So then Ellen G. White tells you what this happened there. What a pretty story, what I'm telling, right? It's a Hollywood movie. Gather together, and the Almighty shows up. And next to him, Jesus, the Christ. And on the other side, Satan. So then God says, you know what, Lucifer? What I speak with my son Christ is things of ours. You can't enter here. But you have to behave. You cannot rebel. So then, Lucifer didn't say anything. He just shut up. But God and Christ knew what was in his heart. And Christ cried. A tear dropped because he knew that Lucifer had begotten wickedness in his heart. And exiting the gathering, he went and got together with the third he had of angels with their ass hanging out. And he was like, we're going to war against them. So then Michael, who was Christ, another name of Christ, we just make up another name of Christ. It was Christ, he was Michael, the son of God. Michael fought against him. And so then they were cast down to earth. There wasn't any other place to cast them up. Though there were so many millions of planets down to earth. Precisely on earth, where Christ, the Christ, was going to create by commandment of his Father. I hope some Christians not listen to me saying, oh yeah, what a great preaching. No, you son of a bitch. No, I'm speaking what it is not. Today I say what it is not. So then precisely God sends him to a place where it was the project of the earth and the bitch that bore him. Precisely when we didn't need that wretched fool here, that son of a bitch ended up here. Why didn't he send him elsewhere? Some other world. There were so many other worlds. Or another planet of the many that there are, the millions of planets elsewhere in this system that turns and everything. To another galaxy. Why didn't he send him to another galaxy? Desolate, with cold. He should have sent him there. But not in the place out of all the millions and billions there is after the Big Bang. How the fuck is he going to send him here? But he sends him here. And when he was already here, Jesus comes to create, but with that son of a bitch here, but you gotta be an idiot, right? Tell me. You gotta be an idiot, and I'm talking about God. You've gotta be an idiot to create a perfect being like Adam and Eve and give him a world, but precisely in the place where the enemy is. Should have placed that enemy elsewhere. No, here. Oh, here. That is what the Christians believe. That's what the Christians believe, everything here. Okay, moving on. moving on with the story, it says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. Wow! So then Lucifer, the leader of the heavenly choir, brought a third of the angels, the holy angels of heaven, and cast them to the earth. So then they went from going in heaven to living on earth. And the dragon stood before the woman. That's something else. He stood before a woman. He had nothing else to do, which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So then John sees the red dragon with his third of angels with his asses hanging out, stands before the woman, and he's got his jaws open, maybe very low, of the woman, because or else how's he going to know that he wants to eat the son? He had to have been in a pose as to receive something would seem an oral sex scene. But the guy deduces that he was trying to eat. He didn't have a little sign, when the baby's born, I'll eat it. If he had been meters away, he would not have gotten to the conclusion that he was about to eat the son. He says he wants to eat the woman. You understand? But clearly John knows that he doesn't want to eat the woman. He wants to eat something that the woman's going to spit out. So then it's kind of an erotic scene. Just imagine with... but of course, how are the Christians going to paint this way? Let's see this one. No, not this one. Imagine a woman like this standing with her big old belly and a dragon below with her jaws open, expecting for something to drop. So then, of course, you say, what is the guy waiting for? Oral sex is not it. Or what you call cunnilingus. He's not trying to eat her out. Although he has a long tongue and 7 heads. How many would want to have 7 heads? Okay, 7 heads, son of a bitch. But well, the guy was there waiting to eat something, according to John. According to John, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. 5. And she brought forth a man-child. John can clearly see that she gives forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God into his throne. So then the dragon was about to eat it. A man-child is born, and the dragon does not eat it, although supposedly he tries to eat it. He can't eat it because he's taken out of there unto God and unto his throne. Very interesting. So then, what do we conclude as a Christian church? That man-child is Jesus, but of course, who else could it be? What else could it be? The woman is Israel, the only one that would rule with a rod of iron to the nations. Is not a group of human beings. And what a twisted mind could that fit in? In what twisted mind? The only one that would rule with a rod of iron is the Son of God. So then that man-child is Jesus, the Messiah. It's just that it says that he's taken up as a child unto God and unto his throne. But what about the whole ministry that Yeshua did here? 30 years, 33 years? Oh, no. They're like, we don't tell that. We don't tell that the child was taken up. The child was taken up. You understand what I'm saying, right? But we continue on with the Christian mind. That's Jesus. Who else could it be? The dragon tried to eat him up. That was Herod. And aside from that, that dragon, they identify him as Satan. But since Satan does not present himself visibly as God also doesn't, he uses human beings. Those human beings were Imperial Rome. So then the red dragon is Satan, but actually it's not Satan. It's Satan acting through another power, which is called Rome, Imperial Rome. I forgot to explain that. You understand that, right? That prophecy that we always accepted, because of course it was not Satan that wanted to kill that child, but rather Imperial Rome. And the one who would guide the mind of the Imperial Rome was that red dragon. So then we start to get many different fails saying, yeah, it is Satan, but it's not really Satan, but it's an empire in which Satan works. And from then on out, Of course, we get that papal Rome, the following power after imperial Rome, is the beast. It's the Antichrist. Because if it was imperial Rome, the dragon was, who else could be in what it became? Papal Rome, the Antichrist. And that's where you get the biggest mistakes when we already know who the beast is. But the year that I gave this, we also had that Yahweh had not illuminated us in YHWH. Once you understand YHWH, wow, it's a rule to understand everything. But of course, I won't tell you what it is. So then it says, I've already told you that that dragon was imperial Rome, but actually it was Satan within imperial Rome. That man-child was Jesus. And so then it was when King Herod was jealous and he tried to kill or eat Jesus. So then that's when he commands to kill all the children younger than what, 4 or 5 years? 4 years younger, kill them all. That's when an angel shows up to Joseph and says, hey, take up the child, go to Egypt. That's when they go to Egypt, something that I've already taught you this in 2011, 2012, that Yeshua never went to Egypt. And now, I don't know, it could be the same thing because he broke the Torah in many aspects. I thought that Yeshua could not go to Egypt because he gave the command as Yahweh saying, do not go to Egypt. Now I could care less. So then if he went to Egypt, he went to Egypt. I don't have any problem with that. So then I'll correct the entire eternal truth. I don't know if he went to Egypt or not, but the story tells that he went to Egypt. I could care less. Because he was not here to fulfill every law of the Torah, but to die for the Torah, which is different. So then if he had fulfilled every law of the Torah, he could not have died for the Torah. He had to break the Torah to actually be a prisoner of death, accursed. If you did not understand, don't you worry. Don't you worry. Yeshua was not here to fulfill the law, but to die for that law. Okay, this is different. So then, if he went to Egypt, that's all fine with me. Maybe it was convenient for him to go there, but what's comical is that the king of Rome did not persecute him because the Adventist church interprets that the dragon is imperial Rome, okay? But the one who gives the command is the king of Israel, Herod. Do you understand what I'm saying? Herod was the king of Israel, not the king of Rome. So then that command to kill the children goes from the king of Israel. So then what do we agree with? Who was the dragon? Israel or Rome? You understand what I'm saying, right? It is very clear. Mistakes all over the place. But I'll continue on with what it is not. Rome tries to kill the man-child through the king of Israel and sends to be killed all the children from the zone of Bethlehem, and that is when they flee to Egypt. Very well. I'll continue on. Her child is caught up. They said that he was caught up, her child, 33 years afterwards. So then, I want you to understand the scene. John is seen, and the scene is continuous. The scene is immediate. It says that the woman is given birth, and in the moment that the son is born, he's caught up unto God and unto his throne, and separated unto God and his throne. It doesn't say in 33 years later when he became a man, hairy and all, that's when he was caught up unto God. You understand what I'm saying? First, the man-child had to die, which is Jesus. If it's Jesus, that man-child doesn't go to any heaven, but actually dies first. So then he had to be crucified by imperial Rome. So then they won because the dragon did crucify him. So then what happened in this prophecy? It would seem that the dragon did at least get one of his jaws in there, one of his teeth in there, sunk him in there. Who could it be? Jesus is not there. I'll read it again. It says, and she, the woman, gave forth a man-child, Jesus Christ, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God in his throne. Her son, that child, immediately was caught up. How can this coincide? That is Jesus. Tell the truth. Not that I read it to you like that and you think about it, it's impossible. But the whole world that accepts revelation think that that man-child is Jesus. When that man-child, that Jesus, the supposed dragon, ended up killing him, and he had to resurrect 3 days later. Do we agree? Because the dragon did bite him. He ate him. And he was 3.5 days in the tomb. So the dragon, in the belly of the dragon, exactly. So then he had to resurrect him, open his mouth, or exit another way, like the story of Jonah. So then there's something that does not fit in, Christian kids. It does not fit in, but let's move on with the story. Nothing fits in. 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness. When did she go into the wilderness? Right in that time that she gave birth? No. She fled. That would take place in the year she gave birth, in the year 4 before Christ, because we do not say that he was born in the year 1. He was born in the year 4 of the calendar before Christ. But the woman does not flee into the desert there. No. That woman that gave birth died. She died destroyed. If that woman is Israel, she died destroyed. Do we agree? Her temple was burnt down. In other words, her body was burnt down. Of that woman, they burnt the city down, disappeared it from the map. More than 1 million people were massacred, and the rest were taken prisoner. So then, how can I coincide this? That the woman fled to the desert. She didn't flee anywhere. The woman was killed also. If it's Israel, do you understand what I'm saying? No, just out of love for the noobs. This has already been ministered, as a son of a bitch would say. Pharmakeia Palacio, it's been ministered a long time ago. Way long time ago. But, for those who are listening to me for the first time, which I know they believe it that way, it is impossible. If that woman is Israel, the one that gave birth to Yeshua, then that woman does not flee anywhere. She is destroyed, that woman is. And those who are left alive are taken prisoner. But what does it say? It says the woman fled to the desert, where she has a place prepared by God. What? Israel was destroyed. Adventists and Christians, it does not coincide, no matter what you believe, that they should feed her there 1,203 score days. What do Adventists say? Of course. And was the woman fed? From the year 538 to the year 1798. What? That is what they believe. That is what I always believed. That's the 1,260 prophetic days, which are a day for a year, from the year 538 to the year 1798. But hold on a minute. Weren't we talking about that the woman gave birth to the Messiah in the year 4 for Christ? Yes. The persecution barely, or the desert barely started 538 years later? Yes. And it's not even Israel. Yeah, because it changed, they say. The woman transformed. She went from being the one that gave birth to Yeshua, the one that gave birth to the Mashiach. She becomes the woman that follows the Mashiach, which are the authentic Christians. So then, the same woman's talking about, it's the same thing we believed, the same woman that gave birth to Christ, the Mashiach. Then she turns into, automatically, immediately, the Christian woman, the persecuted one. And she's persecuted 530 years later, plus 4 be 538, 544 years later after the son was born. 42! Pardon? 32! 538, 542 years. 542 years after she gave birth to the son. But how can this prophecy be so stupid? Yes, because it says, and the woman fled to the desert. When she gave birth, and the woman fled to the desert, where she has a place prepared by God, that she be fed there. She be fed for 1,260 days. 538. 1798, the Adventists say. The rest don't even know what that is. 7. And there was war in heaven. What? Another one? There had already been one. Because they kicked Lucifer out and his angels. And there's another one It says afterwards, after all that, there was a great war in heaven. Michael, the Adventists say Michael is the one that is like unto God, the one that is like God. That's why, and who else could it be like God? And they explain it that way. Could an angel be like God? No. Michael means the one that is like God. Who could it be? The only one that is like God is the Son. That's it. So then Michael is Christ. Wow, how great. Michael is Christ. So then Christ, we could say, and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels. This is a war that took a little longer. It wasn't so fast. This was a battle. When it says that they fought, Christ and his angels, and the dragon fought, is that it took a little longer. Whether it's Christ, Michael, or whatever, it took time. Took time. And the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed. Now, the dragon lost, the Satan lost. Neither was their place found anymore in heaven. What? Hadn't they already been cast out? Yeah, they say, but they could still have access to heaven. They couldn't live in heaven, but they say, do you remember the story of Job? That one day the children of God were gathered together in heaven, and Satan showed up. And God asked him, where do you come from? Just from going around and wandering around the earth. I'm bored. That's why I came here. So then they tell you, the Adventists do, Satan had access to heaven even after he had already been cast out, not to live, but just to converse. He would accuse the brethren, the accuser of our brethren, he would accuse them, not as a vacation, just to fuck around. He would go and bust their balls. What was Satan to do? He would go and bust their balls. What would Satan go to heaven to do? To bust their balls. How would an Argentinian say? To break their balls. He would go to fuck with them. But he had access. But when is his access denied? As a good Adventist, you should tell me. When is the access denied to Lucifer to heaven? When? An Adventist here can answer me. When Christ died. Very good. In the cross, they teach you, right? When Christ died, Satan lost his visa and it was denied. He could no longer go to heaven. That is the Adventist logic. The Adventist logic. So then I'll read again. Then there was a great war in heaven. Michael and his angels would fight against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels would fight, but they could not prevail, nor there was any place found for them in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called out of where? Out of heaven. She was cast out. The great serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, cast out. Bow! And his angels, that third, were cast out with him. Then I heard a great voice in heaven that said, now in heaven, as if they could care less what the fuck happens on earth. Let's suppose, and I'm saying already way too much. Then, if this what I'm preaching is what it's not, and what it is, I will not tell you until next Shabbat. Part 2, do not miss out. And then I heard a loud voice in heaven, saying, now is come salvation. Finally, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. Wow, finally we've got the authority of his Christ, of God and his Christ. There's two. You got the invisible who's missing here. So then at least it's two. It says of God. What else do we have now? The kingdom of God and his authority. Up until now, that Christ didn't have authority. He did not have any authority. We agree. No matter if they teach us they themselves that he created the earth, that doesn't matter for shit. He didn't have any authority. No matter if he gave the Torah, that doesn't matter. He didn't have any authority whatsoever. He didn't have authority. So then finally, they say, finally, the authority of his Christ comes. Why? Because the accuser has been cast down. Cast the fuck out. Whom? The accuser of our brethren. Wow, Satan. Which accused them before our God day and night. That's why he would come and bust their balls every fucking day. He'd bust their balls. So then he was cast out when? When would he accuse them? Day and night before God. But hold on, if he would accuse them, when would he deceive them? No, it's kind of the guy, Satan, is almost omnipresent. Because here it says he would accuse them day and night. But he was also day and night tempting the people. How the fuck? I mean, Satan is magnificent. Satan is so powerful. He's omnipresent. As long as he deceives the people, at the same time, he was also accusing day and night over there. He was doing that day and night. And I'm talking about what the scripture says. It says that Satan would be day and night before God, accusing. But at the same time, he would deceive because he would deceive the whole world. How did the guy do it? Very powerful. Very powerful. Very powerful, this son of a bitch. Very powerful. That's why the Christians are so afraid of him. Right, when they talk about Satan, they don't know where to hide. They're like, no, praise be God. No, the blood of Christ protects me. I remember back in the day when we were all in the home and you couldn't get out. They were with masks and everything. And I'd be like, why so much protection? They're like, oh, no, the blood of Christ protects me. And I was like, if the blood of Christ were to protect you, you would not use all that shit. They're like, you're not Christian. Of course I am. But we can see that you don't believe that the blood of Christ doesn't protect you. It doesn't protect you for shit. That's why you have to wear a mask and everything. And then what came afterwards? The celebrate Hanukkah. Let's go, kids, and celebrate Hanukkah. How many celebrations of Hanukkah? You have 3, 4. Continue to celebrate. Let's all celebrate Hanukkah. Because they don't deserve something else, these sons of bitches. Very well, moving on, advancing. What a son of a bitch, the Satan. But it says that he heard a voice in heaven that said, finally. What happened? Salvation has come, the power and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Christ. When does that come? The Adventists say when he died and resurrected. When he resurrects, everything hits the fan. That is where he receives the authority of his Christ, and the kingdom of God comes. Everyone knows this. 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. You see, that's when the Lamb died. They have defeated him by the blood of the Lamb. Whom did they defeat? Whom did they overcome? Those screaming in heaven. I heard a voice in heaven saying, and they that were in heaven. But hold on, Adventists. If you taught me that there's no one in heaven, when you die, how are the people, you Adventists, asleep? Very well, we believe the same thing. Inert. They don't play in the game. How is it that they're celebrating in heaven? Because it says that, then I heard a great voice in heaven, and it says, and they have overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. How is it that there are people that celebrates in heaven when Jesus died, but they had already overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death? They had died, but now they overcame, and they're celebrating in heaven. That is the Jubilee, the great voice. Now salvation has come in the power of the King. They cannot explain that. There is no explanation possibly for them, but they say when the Christ died, that's when salvation barely came. And these dead people, actually, it's just a story about how it doesn't happen. They're celebrating that this time, even though they're dead, they will resurrect. And those who are alive notice that they are saved. None of that happened with the disciples. They didn't have a fucking idea who Yeshua was nor what he came for. Nothing. Disciples didn't have an idea. They continued going to the temple. That's why they died without anything. That's why. Nothing makes sense, but I'll move on. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth. It says, those living in heaven. Who the fuck lives in heaven? Aside from that, the people living in heaven, what the fuck do they have anything to do, those people in heaven? Why? Because why do they rejoice? They rejoice, the heavens, and those that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Wait, hold on. Let me explain this. I'll explain this, and I'll explain it majestically so. But at a Christian level, Here they're telling you that in the heavens there's a great feast. And it says, therefore heavens rejoice, and they that dwell in them. You shouldn't even argue. It says, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth. You that are in heaven already celebrate. Oh, rejoice, but woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Wow. Wow. You that are already in heaven, that you already resurrected, you're already overcome by the blood of the Lamb. Celebrate, rejoice, rejoice, but woe to those that are still inhabiting the earth. These are the things that the Christians, the Adventists, that say they believe what they believe. They have a liquid diarrhea in their brain. Tell you the truth, it's wow. When they present it to you like that, it's wow. What explanation can they give? None. Who the fuck rejoiced in heaven? They're going to say, no, it's those that Yeshua took with him. That handful of people that he took with him, they rejoiced for that. And wow, absolutely nothing to do with the fact. And they have overcome him. Therefore rejoice, heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, oh, how terrible, the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. The devil knows that he has a short time, and he descends from heaven to earth with great wrath. He has such a wrath, and he says, and when the dragon saw that he was cast unto earth and he could no longer accuse our brethren. When the dragon saw, when he finally came to, because he had already seen it, if they cast him down with war, it's like, how could he not see it? But it says, and once he noticed, once the dragon saw that he had been cast unto earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. He persecuted Israel. Oh, no, that's not Israel. That's not Israel, they say. It is the Christians. What? It is the children of the man-child whom he persecutes. No, he persecutes the woman, the one that gave birth. No, you're telling me that he persecutes the Christian church, and they are the children of the man-child. That's why it's called Christians. Because the woman gives birth to Christ. The followers of that Christ are called Christians. And now you're telling me that the dragon persecutes the Christian church. Doesn't persecute the woman, persecutes the grandchild of the woman. The woman has a child, and the children of Christ are the Christians. That's not what the Bible says. Not even the sign of this says nothing. And says, and when the dragon saw that he had been cast unto earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. It doesn't say Israel. Pardon me. It doesn't say the Christian church. It says Israel. But the Christian church is going to say, what? Oh, the dragon persecutes the Christian church. What? Do you understand what I'm saying? Or am I speaking like a crazy person here? If you don't understand it, watch it over and over many times. I'm telling you what it cannot be. The dragon, it says that he persecutes the woman that gave birth the man-child. It doesn't say that persecuted the descendants of the man-child. Persecutes the woman, the one that gave birth the man-child. Persecutes that one. It is clear, right? Very well. 14. And the woman were given 2 wings. The woman, that woman. Not the Christian church. What sons of bitches, what sons of bitch and all the rest of Christianity, and you too, because you believe this too. What a son of a bitch, because we have to go above this prophecy of when she gave birth, and then 500 years in the future, we switch the woman, we switch the context, we switch everything to try to make this prophecy fit in. It says, and the woman were given the 2 wings of the great eagle, whom should have gotten in Israel. In any case, if she gives birth, who has to get the 2 eagles of eagle? The woman, right? We do agree. But no, not the woman doesn't get that. According to the Christians, another woman gets it, which is another woman, which is the woman, the sense of Yeshua, not the one that gave birth. Do you see how it's all a mess? Do you see all the hoops I'm having to jump through here just to explain this stupidity? And the woman was given, the woman that gave birth, the 2 eagles of the great eagle. And what are the wings of the 2 great eagle? that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time, in times and a half a time from the face of the serpent. 1260 days. Here it is, clearly. The same one that we read before. I won't explain it today. But it's not that there are two times. There's only one time, 1260. Marvelous. Of course, I'm tempted to explain it, but no. I will not explain it to you. 15. 15, it says. The serpent cast out of his mouth. Cast out of his mouth the serpent, and how nice, a liquid. A liquid, you see how she casts out. Cast out of her mouth. After the woman, water. What contains water? Wanted to inject the woman somehow. It says the woman, it says she cast out of her mouth the serpent, out of her mouth, water, at her beak. Wanted to get her wet. What he wanted to get her wet? Soak her? He wanted to put something, a product. What the fuck am I speaking? I have to explain what it is not. And it says that in Satan, it's what it is not. And Satan explained out of his mouth after the woman water as a flood, that she might cause her to be carried away by the flood and drowned. The sudden death, no, not that. She was dragged out. I'm talking like a Christian, I forget. But the woman, but the earth. Who is the earth? The Adventists will say it's the US of A. That's the earth. So then, it's got nothing to do, since nothing coincided before, even less now, because from 538 to 1798, it's the years in which the woman is persecuted and protected. But it says that the earth helps her, but when is the earth at the end given? At the end. So then the whole first part, 1,000 years of persecution, the US of A did not exist. Where the fuck was that woman? Oh, just deal with it. Okay, let's see if I decelerate and explain to you. Adventists say that the earth is the US of A, that the earth helped the woman. But what happened is that the prophecy doesn't say that it will help her in the last days of the 1260, but it helps her throughout the whole 1260 days. So then in the year 538, when they say that this prophetic time starts, the earth should have existed in order for her to escape, to be protected for 1260 days, but it doesn't happen. Why? Because the Adventists are brainless, completely stupid. There is no chance of salvation during the millennium for them, because they're expecting something that does not exist. They understand the prophecies like shit, just like the rest of the Christians. And I was thinking, who else has a chance of understanding our message? Well, a great group of Jews could understand it. Apparently, they could understand it even more. They're expecting a Moshiach, a human one. They're waiting for something that's very different to what the Christians may be. There's more chance with them. I don't know. But I think these sons of bitches, some of those will understand us even more than the Christians, which are going to say, no, that is an antichrist. We are waiting for Jesus in the clouds of heaven, not these ridiculous people. But of course. And we, with all these prophecies that we believe, they're so twisted. Okay, I'll read again. It says, but the earth helped the woman, for the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the river that the dragon had cast out of his mouth. So then, I'll shut up. 17. It seems that the US of A swallowed up the land of no king and no pope, the pilgrims that came from the old continent, and they found the earth of liberty. That is the earth that helped the woman. This is what I have for all the Advent. Fuck you. And fuck all your understanding. All your understanding is shit. It really is shit. Absolutely shit. There's no other turn of the page. Last text. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Wait a minute. Why, if he is wroth against a woman, which evidently exists, because he is wroth not against what the woman was? Do you understand? The scripture says of this prophecy says, which is concealed, of course, not for me, but for you it is concealed, until next Shabbat. Do you want me to take the cover out? Next Shabbat. As a Christmas present. Then the dragon was wroth with the woman. That's what pissed him off, the woman. And went to make war against the rest of the remnant of her seed. But what, he couldn't fight the woman? Interesting. And who are the rest of the seed of hers? Those who keep the commandments of God. It says, we are who? The Adventists. Why? Because we have the 10 Commandments. Especially number 4 that says, the Sabbath, keep it. Remember the Sabbath day. Thou shalt not do any work therein. They say, we are the people of God. That is the sign of God. We have the seal of God because we don't have the mark of the beast. What's the mark of the beast, you Adventists, sir? Sunday. Sunday is the mark of the beast. And we are not the beast. And we have the seal of God, the Sabbath. Wow, now many accompany you, Mr. Adventist. All the Messianic that keep the Sabbath. There's more people that keep the Sabbath. There's a lot more that keep the Sabbath. Without counting the Jews, a lot more people that keep the Sabbath. What are they going to say? They'll have the mark the seal of God? Yeah, because Ellen G. White said there are many saved outside of the Adventist church. There was going to be many saved. They're like, but, hold on. Not just that. Pardon, Mr. Adventist? No, here's the Adventist secret. Here's the Adventist secret. Yes, they'd say, not just do we keep the Sabbath, but we have something else that's unique, which the Messianic don't have, nor the Jews. Well, what do you have? We have the testimony of Jesus Christ. And what's the testimony of Jesus Christ? Oh, you never learned Revelation 19. It says, and I was going to worship, and it says, don't worship me. I am a servant like you. I'm a servant just like you, he says, and like your brethren. This is worship God. Because the spirit of prophecy, because the testimony of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy. And what does that have anything to do with it? You don't know what the spirit of prophecy is? It's called Ellen White. What? Yes. And those are the testimonies. Even there's a series of books called the Testimonies for the Church. Those are the testimonies of Jesus Christ. That is the spirit of prophecy. But that's the prophet. No, that was more than a prophet. She was the messenger of the Lord. Wow. And she saw visions, more than 2,000 visions. 2,000 visions, and was she alone? No, her angel accompanied her. Her angel would take her to the heights. She would take her to the climax of the earth. This angel did. And you then, who are you? We are these, they say. We have the commandments of God, the Sabbath, and we have Ellen G. White. Those are the 2 characteristics of the remnant people, the last one of God. That's what every Adventist believes. They will preach that to all the pastors. Well, if you're an Adventist, you will have had already, I'm sure, you remembered all the preachings that they have told you about this, which is the maximum characteristic that they are the rest of the descendants of her. And they are the only Israelites that exist in which will be saved. And that's how it ends, this interpretation of Revelation 12. Then comes another text, which I'm not going to emphasize so much. I thought that it was true, but it's not true. Looking for it in the ancient versions and all the rest. The text 18 says, wow, I don't know if it'll be so short next Shabbat. I'm going to try. It's all this here. This explanation. All this is what it is. Today is what it was not. Number 18 in some versions, like for example, the Spanish DHH, the Jerusalem, the Book of the People of God, the Castilian, the Martin Nieto, and many others, it says, there's one more text, which in the Spanish RV 1960 appears in the 13:1 in the following chapter that says, then he stood upon the shore of the sea. So then the dragon stood upon the sea of the shore. For example, in the basic Bible, it says, and the dragon stood on the sand of the sea. That text really is not a part of the prophecy, because it's not that the dragon took place on the shore of the sea, but John says, the Spanish rabbinate said, and I stood on the shore of the sea. In most of the versions it says, and I stood upon the shore of the sea. In some versions it says, and the dragon stood upon the shore of the sea. Which of the two is it? It makes no sense that the dragon would stand on the shore of the sea, because the story ends in verse 17 that the dragon makes war, doesn't stand in the shore of the sea, but makes war to whom? Against the woman, and makes war against the seed of the woman, those who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. What does that mean? Next Shabbat we'll explain it. Very well, so then number 18, it's a bad translation. It belongs to number 13 that says John stood. I had presented this many years ago. I said, oh, this is great. I had not understood chapter 13 and even less chapter 12. Very well. That's all I will present about Revelation chapter 12. But here I will present a new message. The first part of what I'm going to say is speculative. What did I say is the first part of what I'm going to say? This is speculative. If it doesn't come true, that's fine. We're already used to it. But there are many coincidences. And that's why I'll present it. Because in my mind, when coincidences shine, the coincidences shine. And there's no power in the world that can stop me when I speak. Sometimes I say, I won't say this. I speak with Leslie, says, no, we shouldn't say that. Let's not say that, because then, like always, and it'll never happen, and then we'll always look like shit. But there's a power, just like Satan goes into me. Satan enters me. So the Christian says, see, there it is. Before he said Satan was his brother, I didn't say that, but now I say that Satan enters me. What do you want me to do? Lucifer possesses me. Satan possesses me. Lucifer possesses me. It's like, how can you speak that way? Because it's the truth. Satan possesses me. Lucifer possesses me. And what I did not want to say consciously, I have to say it. This is one of the things that I have to say. For example, the first part is speculative, but the following one is a truth which I want you to understand perfectly and clearly. Otherwise, you cannot form part of this group. It's something that you still have not understood clearly. You have not understood it at a conscious level. But when you relate it, you'll understand it. Maybe you may suffer pain. I could give a fuck if it hurts you. It's not my fault. If it causes pain in you, it's because you were wrong. Maybe some of you may leave because of this. I'll tell it to you like that. I could give a fuck. I don't decide who stays here, but I can decide who stays here. Let's see if you understand me. I am not the one who chose you for you to listen to me. But I do have the power to say, you don't belong here, you can go. Fuck off, that I do have power. I don't have the power to call you, because you didn't hear me because I went to look for you personally. But I do have the power to tell you to fuck off, at least from this group. So then, this subject will be difficult. It'll be difficult, but I want you to chew it. Think it over and use every single one of your brain cells that you have available. And I hope there are many. Every last one, you think it over and understand it, okay? Very well. First, let's go to the speculative part. The speculative part, tomorrow, will be played the final of the Babylonian soccer tournament. And I call it Babylonian because they organize it. Many of it was rigged, not everything. But either way, it's a feast, worldwide feast. Just like a Hollywood movie could be where we get messages from, Yahweh has always spoken through what he wanted to, no matter who it was. He prophesies this, and when Yahweh wants for someone to prophesy, they all prophesy. When the lion roars, who will not prophesy? So then anyone can prophesy. And I see this as a prophecy, a very possible one. It has many coincidences. Tomorrow will be played the Babylonian tournament of football will be played. Argentina, France. This could be prophetic, and I said it could be, because it has many characteristics of being prophetic, because precisely this tournament shall be played when the time is about to end and enter into Jubilee. And precisely this year, it was not last year nor next year, it was this year that the final is played. And not just by chance, but by cause is Argentina in the final. What does Argentina have anything to do with it? Why are you so nationalist? First, listen to me. In May 2018, remember that in 2018, months after Yom Kippur, what begins? The new Germanic medicine, the 1206. So then in May of 2018, 70 years were fulfilled for Babylon. Another one of the subjects which one says it cannot be so many coincidences. 2018, the 70 years of Babylon are up. Another disappointment for us, because we were waiting for something to happen. Nothing. You remember, right? Nothing. 70 years, nothing. But in Yom Kippur, what starts is the purification of the temple. It didn't start in the year 69, nor in the year 71. It starts in the year 70. How marvelous is that? Yes, marvelous, mind-blowing. So many things. And what starts precisely in May of 2018, Babylon has its 70th birthday, but after the sign of Bethuwlah, which we saw it September 23rd of 2017. At the sign came. It says the Son of Man will be born for us. We thought it was Jesus would come. The Son of Man would be born. It was in the explanation that I just gave. Son of Man is born. It means that the Son of Man comes. Jesus comes. The Christ comes. And that's precisely on the day, the year prior, for its 70th birthday. And it was born prior to its 70th birthday. And of course, when it comes some months afterwards, in 2018, in May, it has 70 years birthday for Babylon. And of course, we thought the coming of the Son of God. And the thing is that the Son of Man did come. It's just that we didn't see it, or we didn't understand how he came. That's the most beautiful part, but we'll explain that later. The Son of Man came. We didn't see it, but he came. Not only that happened, but it's just that the Argentinians, we felt deep, well, before that, this, in May 2018, when the 70 years were fulfilled, we felt a deep disappointment, an absolute disappointment, shockingly disappointment. 70 years were up, nothing. That brought as a consequence what you already know that I lived through, which was called Luz. It brought my Luz. When it brought me, it fucked it up even more. Because on top of him not coming, on top of nothing coming, we saw the sign of Bethuwlah. We saw the 4 blood moons. We saw how Babylon would fulfill 70 years, another disappointment on top of another, and of course we have a devaluation, and Luz came. When Luz came, I got so upset at Yahweh that I even said, I don't want to speak one more word for anything. Absolutely, look for another son of a bitch, because I've served you. I've preached the dates, and you pay me this way. I couldn't understand any of that, but you pay me that way. I don't want to even speak about you or to anyone. I'm talking to Yahweh. I didn't want to speak to you because there's no other person that's more brilliant than me to give these prophecies, and you treat me this way, then go and fuck off. That is what I told. And your witnesses. I'm telling you, your witnesses, go fuck off. Where the fuck is the Elohim of justice? I don't even want to know back then. But of course, those are things that I have to go through. So then, when the disappointment came, I didn't know. The solution came, though. Yahweh made me understand. Satan entered me again and made me understand what the solution was and made me study the new Germanic medicine. What I could present some months later in Yom Kippur of that year. Do you understand? You follow me. You follow the sequence. On that year, we suffered another disappointment. And they are parallel. They're parallel. What happened on that year? That year was the Russia World Cup 2018. In Russia 2018, the previous World Cup, which coincides with the 70 years, which is with disappointments, there was another disappointment added. Argentina suffered a deep disappointment, lost 4-1 with Croatia. In the group sectors, lost with Croatia, but wasn't left out. Passed into the second round. Croatia really gave us 4 goals with Messi and all. With the Messiah of soccer and everything. With a great team and all. We had everything to win as Argentina, everything. But we got an awful defeat. They would enter, because when they have to enter, they have to enter. You saw the defense would give it and the Croatian would grab it. What a fucking son of a bitch. It just bounces some Croatian son of a bitch and scores. And we were shooting everywhere they wouldn't enter. Satan was there playing. That's the way it is. That's what happens. And 4-1. Okay. We went into a second in the group, and then France grabbed us. The following game was France. Interesting, right? This World Cup, we go Croatia, and following France. France grabs us. It was such a game with France. If you see it, they got there, and we were there. More of us. Satan was also playing there. Because we got there even more. We started winning to those sons of bitches because we played more than those French sons of bitches. A lot more. That all they had to do is to bring African players, and they put the name of French, and they're all French. They're all, well, I don't want to say anything. They are Frenchmen. They are Frenchmen. They represent France. It's very normal. It's very normal. It would seem I'm watching the Congo, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Okay, taking that out. Taking that out. We started winning against France with such goals. I mean, just goal. Another idiot goal. It ended 4-3. 4 France, 3 Argentina. And home. Of deep disappointment. Israel's 70th year. We didn't have anything left. No World Cup. Deeply hurt and with Les. That's the way it is. That's the way it is because it was parallel. We were bitter and crying out with the Messiah and everything. Because Messi, I had never even noticed about this. Messi, but for some reason his name is Leo Messi. And Leo Messi, the conjunction of his name, Leo. And what does Leo mean? Leo is a lion. And what does Messi mean? The Messiah. He is the Messiah lion. There's no chance here, okay? Yahweh does whatever he wants. When Satan enters, he does what he wants. Whatever he wants. He puts the name the way he wants, gives the gifts the way he wants. And so then, Argentina, with the lion Messiah and everything, nothing, go home. 2018, we went home. But we're the 70 years, Lord. No, he says, no, you thought so, you thought so. Yeah, but if the fig tree in 1948 was founded plus 70 2018, it was 217, everything was served for us to be champs. No, he says, no. We saw the sign of Bethuwlah the year prior. We saw the 4 moons. Everything is fulfilled. No, he says, no. Not yet. Not yet. You still have more time. But until when? Well, first, I'm going to send you a little bit of pain so that you learn, so that you can teach the other group. which have to learn something. It says the plan is very amplified. So then everyone off to home. Argentina goes home to fuck off. To this, we can add the disappointments that Argentina was selected in 2010, which we got, to Africa, South Africa, with the hand of Maradona, and we were shot out 4-0 with Germany. And we also, at the year 2014, when we got to the very end of the fight, we played better than Germany. Germany has no passion, they're pieces of shit. We played so much better than Germany that final cup. But what happened? They won 1-0. A couple of minutes were left. A ridiculous bone goal. And we, wow, kicked it all over the place. We danced around Germany, and if you believe me, watch the game, but watch it then Argentinian heart. Or else you're gonna see jealousy and everything that is felt against Argentina. That final game, Argentina deserved to win. And what happened? Germany took it. So then we had another deception upon another deception upon another deception. That was in 2014. The same experience, precisely. Notice the experience that we had in 2010, 2014. That we also, like the eternal truth in 2011, we had a bitter disappointment. We thought we were going to be champions. And what happened? No matter if we had Messi, Elijah, Cyrus, and the bitch that bore him, doesn't matter. We go home. We go home. Going home. That's the way it is. That's what happened. Same experience. So then, LVE made judgment this year and declared Jubilee. We studied and understood who the Messiah was for the first time. For the first time, we understood who the Messiah was. And we are ready to play and win the final of the world. After so many disappointments and is it true what I'm saying? It's true. It's true what I'm saying. We had the Messiah, because Cyrus is the Messiah. The Messiah of the wife, of course, is the Messiah. The wife will later become the Messiah of the world, but the Messiah Cyrus, it's Elijah. That's the Messiah. We had it. We always played with the Messiah. We were fucked off, sent home, nothing, out. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Argentina this year beat Croatia 3-0. From 4-1 in last World Cup, 3-0, it turned around. And it played a lot better. 1,000 times over. And it's already at the end with the same one that took us out. 4-3, France. France represents the Jacobites. You want to know who the Jacobites are? It is the fundamental base of what later was derived into Marxism and in communism and socialism. It is the base of communism. It started in France with the Jacobites. They were the ones that practically started with the massacres and the era of terror, cutting heads off. That later it was per se the true birth of what is communism that we see now in all the world. So then France represents communism, and communism, you don't know who it is, obviously, the beast. The beast is the communist beast, of course. Everything but progressism and everything that we see now. It's the initiation of Marxism, socialism, and Jewish communism that rules the entire world. That is what France represents. Because how are all the governments now? Leftists. Even the one that rules us here in the US of A, it's leftists. They're Democrats. How are all the Democrats of the world? Leftists. What does that represent? France. Because that's where socialism of the left is born, from the Jacobites. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, very well. Because that is what was inspired later. The revolution of Russia and inspired Marx. That's where everything comes from. Everything is Jacobite. That's why they're Jacobites. Jacobites. There's a reason, right? There's a reason. So then, if this is a prophecy, even at least for us, and maybe to start to warm up this world, Argentina should win tomorrow comfortably, not 1-0 or by penalty shots. And it would be a perfect prophecy, absolutely perfect. Because if Argentina represents us, what LVE was, and has the Messi Messiah, the Lion Messiah, We should score 4 to 7 goals to 0 for Africa. I mean France, obviously, of course, pardon me. It would be 7-0 to Nigeria. I mean France, 7-0. Perfect would be 6-0, 6,000. That'd be very nice. Very nice. This is I see it as a prophecy. Do you see why? Because in 2018, we lived the same thing as Argentina. The same rivals now. Everything is being fulfilled now. We've already had judgment in Argentina. Started to play decidedly a lot better. And they're in the final precisely with the one that eliminated us, the one that gave us the disappointment 4 years ago when the 70 years of Babylon were up. Up until now, what I said was speculative. That's it. Forget it. It was speculative, but what I'm about to say now is not. And if somebody is offended or does not understand this, there's the door for you to fuck off to your mother's cunt. To go be born again. Because you don't belong to the Christ. Now I want you to give me all your attention to what I'm about to say. He that chose, even better said, designed or created, the how, the form, the language, the place, the character, the temperament, the culture, the nationality, the passion, and everything else that forms the characteristics of the Elijah or of the Cyrus, of the angel of the covenant, of the Christ for the bride, to form, instruct, give form, prepare his wife, was Yahweh Elohim. It wasn't I, it was not you, it was no one else on this earth except for him. He is the one that calls Cyrus. He is the one that names Cyrus. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is not because of deserving, but because of creation and election. Very well. If you are of LVE, then you understand this. If you're not of LVE and you're listening to me, you don't understand the sense that I'm saying. But if you're of LVE and you have been walking on this path enough time to be fans of LVE, then you understand this. And you know that this Elijah or Cyrus or the Christ is an Argentinian couple. An Ekhad Argentinian couple. Only someone formed in that Argentinian culture could ever have the passion adequately necessary so to form his wife, the wife of Yahweh, to his pleasure, right? Just as Yahweh wants her. In other words, Yahweh gives the task to Cyrus to form his wife. The only one that gives the power to this Cyrus, this couple, he gives it to him, he designs him, and then gives him the power to make his wife. But since this Cyrus, Elijah, has the charge to form his wife and gives him many years to do so, you have to notice that there is such of a personal taste of Yahweh, a sort of taste, I don't know how to say it in Spanish, something that Yahweh wants, a characteristic that's specific that Yahweh wants for her to have. If he wanted her to speak Portuguese, he would have chosen some from Portugal or from Brazil. You understand? If he wanted for his wife to have a Spanish accent, he would have chosen somebody from Spain and speak the way they speak. It could be some idiot from Galicia or from someone else. If he wanted to speak like a Dominican, he would have called a Dominican to give the characteristics to his wife as Dominican. But Yahweh chose an Argentinian couple because Yahweh wants that type of nature and of characteristics. If you don't understand this, don't you worry, okay? I don't get mad. you can fuck off for all I care. Not just was it necessary for her to be Argentinian, this couple, but also Adventist for many reasons, because this message cannot be given nobody that hasn't been Adventist. Had to know the doctrine even better than the Adventist pastors. Had to have lived that Adventist message in order to know what it is not. Because if he had been a Baptist, they don't know shit. If Catholics, they don't know nothing of anything. So then he had to have a message to know how things are interpreted, even if they are ill interpreted, how they are interpreted, the principles of interpretation, very clear. And to be born, those are the characteristics that Yahweh chose for Cyrus to have. But if you don't see it, it's because you are blind. Argentinian, Adventist, and many other characteristics that Yahweh gave him. This message of LVE takes a great seal of Argentinian. A great Argentinian seal. You know that many people, throughout all these years, they have wanted to be the elect or the God sent. From Colombia, some have written to me, some you already know, Emilza Romero, others you don't know, have written to me saying, Yahweh has spoken to me that I am the chosen Son of Man, that he gave you this message for me to receive it, but I have to be it. Colombian, I don't have nothing against them, but I'm not the one that chooses the wife. Yahweh does not marry a Colombian wife. Yahweh does not marry a Mexican wife. He does not marry a Brazilian wife. He does not marry a Spanish or Italian or from the U.S., but with an Argentinian wife, whether you like it or not. Yahweh, the wife of Yahweh is Argentinian. That's why he gave you many years for you to soak yourself about in the Argentinian culture with this passion, this message. Many people call me from Mexico and they talk to me. They've already passed away for some reason. They said, Mexico, God told me that Mexico is Mexico, Megiddo, and that actually, they said, the Revelation talks about us, that Armageddon, Megiddo, we are the chosen people, Mexico. No, Mexico's not the chosen people. Absolutely not. Then the people called me from other countries, from Venezuela, saying, I have a message of God, and I am the son of the chosen God. What? The people are delirious. The last one I had, sometime a little ago, from the Dominican Republic, saying that he was the Son of Man, and that he was the first Son of Man, and that I had to follow him in order for you to not be lost. If I didn't follow him, then you would all be lost. The insanity gets to monumental levels. I see that everyone wants to be the Cyrus, they want to be the Elijah, but this has advanced even more. Malachi 3:3-4. This takes an Argentinian seal. Malachi 3:3-4. It reads as follows: And he shall sit to purify what? Tell me by memory. What does he purify? Silver. It says that Elijah comes, the angel of the covenant comes, and he shall sit. How does Elijah preach? Standing up. It says, and he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. What does he purify? Silver. For he shall purify the sons of Levi, the sons of LVE. I just interpreted it for you. That's why I made you watch the previous subject. He shall sit and purify, and refine and purify the silver. God wants silver. He shall purify them as gold and silver, that they may offer to Yahweh an offering in righteousness. They will be just. That offering in righteousness makes them righteous. Who makes them righteous? The angel of the covenant, Cyrus, Elijah. An Argentinian couple makes them righteous. Why? Is to refine the silver. Notice well, and he shall sit to refine and purify the silver. And they shall be an offering of Judah and Jerusalem, be pleasant unto the Lord, as in the days of old, as in the former years. You know the way it says? For example, I brought you the version of the Vulgata, the Latin Vulgata. The Latin Vulgata says, I know this was written in Hebrew and all the rest, but the Latin Vulgata, the following message after Hebrew, which is Latin, it says, I'll read it to you in Latin.
Et sedevit conflans et emundans argentum.
What's it say? He shall sit to clean home the argentum.
Et purgavit filios Levi, et colavit eos quasi aurum et quasi argentum.
Once again, shall cleanse them as silver. Why? Why? What does Argentina mean? What does Argentina mean? Argentina means the Spanish got to that region of South America looking for gold. When they got there, they noticed that the indigenous people wore silver. Mexico had the gold. And in all those places, in that whole part of Guatemala and all the rest. The word Argentina comes from Latin argentum, which is silver. The Spanish conquistadors believed that there they would find great quantities of that mineral. The Latin word argentum comes from an Indo-European root, which is arc, A-R-G, arc, which means brilliant. That is what arc means, brilliant. That is where we also get the argument word. When the argument is brilliant, like that of the eternal truth, it shines. Argentina, argument. The Rio of the Plata, that's why it has its name, the Silver River. Argentum, Argentina. El Rio de la Plata also owes its name to this mineral. The Spaniards would use this river to transport silver to the Atlantic from Potosí in Bolivia. According to what they say, at the end of this river, the surface shines as if it were silver. Some historians say that Argentina took its name from this river, and in turn the river took it due to its brightness in association with the mines of Potosí. Silver in Latin is argentum, noun and adjective to which it belongs to Argentinus. Argentinus. The name Argentina was used for the first time by the poet Martín del Barco Centenera. In his historical poem, La Argentina, or the conquering of the Rio de la Plata in 1602, 66 years after the foundation of the port of Our Lady Holy Mary del Buen Aire, today Buenos Aires. In Spanish, there's also the argento noun, synonym of silver, used in the poetic language. That is why the Argentinian translators, when Ellen G. White said that Jesus sounded the silver trumpet in English, I don't know how they said it, the silver trumpet, something like that. How did the Argentinians translate it? The best phrase, but translated from Ellen G. White, and Jesus sounded the Argentinian trumpet. Marvelous how they translated this. Okay, I'll read on. It says as follows. Mercury has been called live argent, and the expression living argento is found today in the dictionary of the Royal Spanish Academy with the same meaning. So then, even mercury looks like silver, but it's liquid. It's a living argentum because it's living, mercury is. So then that's what Argentina means. For those who did not know, Argentina means silver. So then, it says that precisely Elijah had to come to refine what? To purify argentum. To purify not the country of Argentina. No, don't look at it that way. He came to purify the silver, the Argentinians. And what do the Argentinians consist of? They're the sons of Levi. Not the ones in the country, but it's something even more prophetic. This message could not be given by another couple. The way that I present it, look for another culture that could present it that way. Did you see the passion of the fans of the Argentinians? Did you see it on TV? The whole world talks about this. The Argentinian passion has no equal. It has no equal. You can look up in videos on YouTube where they say which is the best fans, the best people that go to the rock concerts, and you'll see that all the Americans and the greatest groups of the world, they will tell you there's nothing compared to the Argentinian public. There's no comparison. There is no comparable culture. There isn't. They'll tell it to you themselves, not I. They'll tell it to you. Look it up on YouTube. The best public to listen to rock. They say they make the show for us. They say, we come to sing, but the ones that sing is them. They're admired. In fact, in all the world, for example, the Megadeth song, Symphony of Destruction, when they sing the choir where it says, Megadeth, Megadeth, I want the Megadeth. That was invented by the Argentinians. And now the entire world sings it, even the Americans. In the entire world, you're going to see videos that in the whole world they sing. They don't even know what the fuck aguante means. Aguante is such an Argentinian word. It means, it's as if to say, long live, long live, long live Megadeth. And they invented, and they say, Dave Mustaine says, I was singing, and I would start the choir, and they said, what the fuck are they singing? Megadeth, Megadeth, I want the Megadeth. It's the choir of precisely Symphony of Destruction. The entire world, after they saw the Argentinians, they started to copy the Argentinians. The Japanese fans confused me, because they would sing the Argentinian songs in Japanese. It says that they said, let's see who's got the best songs. We don't want the Brazilian one. The babuca. No, that's no good. That little dance. No, Argentinians don't dance. What Argentinians do? Jumps. Argentinians don't dance. Look at how the stupid Brazilians celebrate. Let me talk about Brazil so they don't get upset. The best football in the world and the planet is had by Argentina and Brazil. Why do I laugh at Brazil? Because I admire them. Because they got a football that is very much like the Argentinian level. But of course, I love watching Brazil play. But I want to see them lose. Because they are our enemies. But we're the best. Along with Argentina. The rest are cold-chested. They just kick Sanders. They're a piece of shit. The South American football is the best. Absolutely, by far. Argentina and Brazil have the best football on the planet. And no one can ever have it. They could win, they could lose. The best football is Argentina. Argentina and Brazil. Yes, obvious. Okay, so then the Argentinian fans has no equal. The Japanese learned little songs. They even asked for permission. They learned the songs and they sing the songs with the Argentinian song. So many things absolutely marvelous. It has no equal. The Argentinian passion has no equal. Did you see? You were witnesses that someone tried to give this message in Salvadorian. And how did they end? In shitty paths. Because a Salvadorian could never ever have the passion of an Argentinian. Never. He's going to be a clown speaking. Dead, alive, speaking that bores you. You can even hear him. Do you think that Yahweh made a mistake in choosing an Argentinian couple to speak? To say that would be crazy, that he made a mistake. It would be crazy. But I am explaining to you the why. The why you should and should be Argentinian. Let us sing amongst all of us a song so as to warm up. A song, and when you sing this song, when we say we are Argentinians, actually, what we're saying is what Yahweh chose. It's silver, it's the Argentum. The Argentum, don't sing it due to the nationality of that country, but rather the culture and what Argentina means to Yahweh. So then let's go to the first one. For those of you who don't know this, what I'm about to sing now, I don't know if I have it. No, I don't have it here. Okay, whatever. It was a typical song of Argentina that I love. We're going to sing it, all of us here, because it sounds great. The lyrics sound like this. Ole, 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 hola. Ole, 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 every day I love you even more. I am Argentinian. The women can sing this in female, however you want. I am Argentinian. That means I am the wife of Yahweh. The original lyrics say a feeling, but in Spanish it ends in miento, which means lie, so we changed it to cierto, which means true. It's a true feeling I cannot stop. Okay, let us all sing here together. 1, 2, 3.
Ole, 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 hola. Ole, 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 cada día te quiero más. Soy argentino, es un senticierto, no puedo parar. Vamos de vuelta. Ole, 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 hola. Ole, 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 cada día te quiero más. Soy
Spectacular, kids. Spectacular. Very good. Very good. LVE was created and formulated by an Argentinian couple, and as if that weren't enough, were also added because this Elohim designed it. I didn't look for them. They looked for me. Desperately so looked for me. They took the videos of mine, they made clips and they uploaded them online. I was not looking for 3 Mexicans, nor 3 Brazilians, nor 3 Guatemalans. No, nope. I was looked for by 3 specific people. It was 3 Argentinians. At the beginning of it all, in the year 2008. Ariel, Gabriel, and Alejandro Heyer. With a devotion complete. Absolute, unquestionable, up until today, they help me in everything. Whether I greet them every day or not, they're still there. On a permanent basis for years and years, with all the Argentinian passion. I need something, they're there. At first, when the programs, we couldn't get them easily, they would send them to me from Argentina, the programs, so that we could edit. It's so many years. I didn't choose them. Yahweh chose them. Gabriel, when we still didn't have the name for the eternal truth, we said, let's start a ministry. Between all of us, we suggested names. Gabriel suggested the eternal truth. Gabi, another Argentinian, Gabriel. So then I decided, after everybody agreed, yeah, that's the most adequate name. It's the eternal truth. An Argentinian named it. I didn't look for him. Yahweh chose him. It was Leslie, I, Gabriel, Ariel, and Alejandro. Ale. This was the very creation of the eternal truth. Only Argentinians. Why did Yahweh design it that way? He has his projects. I didn't even know them. They looked for me desperately. And up until today, they are the most faithful helpers that we've had ever. They're always there. Every day they're there. And today publicly. So I thank them, all 3. And later, other translators were added. I don't want to leave them out, but they were not a part of the eternal truth. They were added to help in the eternal truth. Other preachers were added who left. But what the eternal truth is, and what the eternal truth represents, was formed only purely by Argentum, by the silver, by the Argentinians. Other preachers were added and they were left to naught. We already know the stories of all the preachers, Colombians, Dominicans, Salvadorians, and nothing, they were left to naught. It was not the way, not Dominican or Colombian or Mexican or Brazilian or Spanish. It was only Argentinian. So many years and so many hours of listening to an Argentinian. Did you know that you've listened to me for so many years? And those years are ours. And the subjects are so long. And not just once. You repeat it once and over. It was converting you in a lot more Argentinians than what you believe you are. Now you hear my vocabulary, my way of speaking, how I pronounce the words in an Argentinian way, even my bad words per se, and you perfectly understand them. The use of the language, the accent of the words, different words, the bad words, and the pronunciation of the words were recorded in you, the true fans of LVE, and understand me as if you were really Argentinians. You started to feel and live the Argentinian passion of LVE. And in LVE, Elohim does not make a mistake. Elohim doesn't make anything at random. For the true fans, you, the Christ, you would not accept, nor would enjoy, nor would vibrate with anything else, with another accent or another person. Is that true or not? If you don't believe me, Try to listen to others and that it fill your soul. Try to hear others and for you to vibrate as this Argentinian makes you vibrate. They can't because you already are of a different nationality. Absolutely. In Argentina, we say a saying that I know it since I was little. God is Argentinian. I've told you this already. In Argentina, we say God, aside from the fact of how people claim that we are prideful, we say God is Argentinian. But I say unto you, the wife of Elohim is Argentinian. That is what I say unto you and what Yahweh teaches. The wife is Argentinian. Leslie is the very representation and example. She was not born in Argentina. She was born in this country, the US of A, in Santa Ana, California. She was born there. August 2nd of the year 1969. I was born hours after in Argentina. Together, simultaneously, practically simultaneously, we were born. But that is an example because she was born in the other extreme of Argentina, and the other extreme of America, pardon me, Argentina's down there and the US of A is up here. In another country, but she's Argentinian, 100% Argentinian. And what makes her Argentinian? Even though she doesn't have Argentinian papers. What makes her Argentinian? The instruction, her parents, her education. That's what makes her Argentinian. Give or take your example, Haiti. What makes you Guatemalan if you were born here? Nelson, either. You barely even speak English. But are you Guatemalan or American? What are you? Very well said. Very well said. She got a 10. She said not American or Guatemalan, I'm Argentinian. She got a 10. Do you understand what I'm saying? Very well. Absolutely. Very, very, very good. What makes a person Argentinian? The education, her parents, her teaching. Therefore, if you're Argentinian, no matter where you were born, you're Argentinian. Just like that. And feel yourselves Argentinian, but not as a part of that country called Argentina, because that's not the sense. The sense is to live the passion of Argentina, to vibrate. What the selection of Argentina, it could be a marvelous prophecy that what happens tomorrow, wow. I don't know what will happen, but it could be a marvelous demonstration of Yahweh for his Argentinian bride. And it's the moment of being champions. After many disappointments, it is the moment of demonstrate that the Messiah is the best in the world. Better than Maradona, better than Pelé, a lot better than Pelé. But he needs that. What does he need? To be a champion. What does the bride of Yahweh need? To be champions. This Messi has to shine. This Messi has to shine in the entire world. We have to be champions. That's why I see Argentina, it would seem as if Yahweh is demonstrating it so that it is a prophecy for us. For us saying, this is the moment. Everything that you've done well. Of course, there's been anguish and there's disappointments and shocks, but now you will be champions. And champions for all eternity. If you have changed beliefs, if you have changed lineages, if you have changed medicine, if you have changed science, if you have changed religion, if you have changed gods, you come from a Trinitarian God to a YHWH Ekhad. How are you not gonna swap your nationality? You are Argentinian. Speaking with Eddie, the Eddie of the Eternal Truth, he told me, this flag is no longer. I go from here on out for Argentina. Why? Because I'm Argentinian. That's what he told me before we started, that I didn't tell you. I am Argentinian. He says, I've changed the piece of shit England flag that are good for nothings I am Argentinian. If Eddie can change, how can you not change and see this prophecy absolutely marvelously so? You are no longer Spanish, and I will mention every country where there's people of the eternal truth. You're no longer Spanish. You're no longer Mexican. You're no longer Brazilian. You're no longer Chilean. You're no longer Uruguayan. You're no longer Colombian. You're no longer Guatemalan, nor Venezuelan, nor Ecuadorians, nor Costa Ricans, nor Dominicans, nor North Americans, nor Canadian, nor Cuban, nor Salvadorian, nor Haitians, nor Hondurans, nor Nicaraguan, nor Paraguayan, nor Peruvian, nor Bolivian, nor Panamanian, nor Italian, nor Portuguese, nor Dutch people, nor Frenchmen. I mentioned every country where there's people of the eternal truth, nor from wherever you were born. You are the argentum, the purified silver of the tribe of LVEites. You are Argentinian, and we shall be champions. If the Babylonian Argentina fails tomorrow, we will not fail. And we shall win by a landslide. And the cup shall be raised by us, the World Cup of Power. And they already drunk the other cup. The cup about winning shall be raised by us. And let's sing another song, because they said, that one, let's sing another song. Let us sing YHWH. 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, those who don't jump are Englishmen.
Y ya lo ve, el que no salta es un inglés, yeah.
You see, they were jumping like crazy. Those who don't jump are Englishmen. That represents a lot. It represents a lot. Our enemy, Babylon, and also France. Those who don't jump are Englishmen. Some of you, as I've read, and I won't say who, because, well, I shouldn't say anything. They're like, oh, when Argentina, Mexico play, I root for Mexico. You son of a bitch. From here on out, if you're Brazilian, and your country's team plays against the white and celeste of Christ, of the Mashiach, of Messi, the true Christ of Yahweh, you will root for the corresponding place and medal. Argentum. No matter if you are Mexican, you're no longer a Mexican, you're an Argentine, and you have to root for the team accordingly. If I had discovered the guy that has the truth, and I noticed that the guy is Cyrus, and that guy is Brazilian, I would learn Portuguese, because I'm going to follow him whithersoever the guy goeth. Because once I discover who my leader is, because Yahweh chose that leader, so then I see that everything that I had is no good. He is the chosen of Yahweh. I follow him. But the wife of Yahweh is not Brazilian. So then such a thing will never exist. Because the Brazilian language is no good. Portuguese, boo. They have no passion. They have a different passion. Yeah, they dance. The caipirinha, this is the little dance, like the dance of what? The dance of the dove, the paloma, celebrating. Fuck off with that. Red card for Brazil. Fuck off. Yahweh saw Brazil and said, he had all the possibilities of all the land, of every nation, of every tongue, of every race, of every culture. Do we agree? It was all at his disposal. I'm gonna form my wife. How do I want her? Because the one that's gonna form her is gonna give her his own characteristics, right? How do I want her? Let's see. I know what I want. I want an Argentine woman. Aguante Argentina. Whether you like it or not, if you understood what I said, then you have to change your country and become an Argentine. Because that's what Yahweh wants. That passion. He wants a passionate wife. He wants a wife that yells, that jumps. Passionate, with that mentality, completely. This is a perfect description of the Argentine fans. Where is it? Malachi. What? But of course, I've just read in Malachi that the angel of the covenant came to purify Argentina. I just read it to you. Argentinian silver. So then it says, and here it says in text 20 and 21, it'll describe how the Argentinians are that he comes to purify. What? Yes, it's going to describe the Argentinian fans. Malachi 3:20 through 21, Jerusalem 2001. Malachi 3:20 through 21, Jerusalem 2001 reads as follows. But unto you, the adept, the fans of my name. This is the eternal truth. Fans of his name. Fans of Yahweh, because we're the wife. All we want is Yahweh. One alone. We don't want a Christ. We don't want a Holy Spirit. We want Yahweh, because we are the Christ. We are the wife. The fans, he says, mine. My fans. Unto you, my fans, shall the Son of Righteousness arise. Just like the woman. Forget that I said that, but just like the woman of Revelation 12. How is the woman of Revelation 12 illuminated? With the sun. Illuminated with the sun. Wow. You're already understanding something. It says, and the Son of Righteousness shall arise upon you, just like the woman of Revelation 12, with healing in his wings. What? She brings what? She brings a transformation in her wings. When this happens, and ye shall go forth, he says, and ye shall go forth. And how? And how are we going to do? Are we going to do the little dance of the paloma? No. You shall go forth leaping. That's what the Argentines do. They jump, they leap the whole day. The people are like, shut up already. It's been 3 hours that we've been in the stadium. They come 3 hours early. They don't come late like you guys, 3 hours prior. Is Argentina playing? They're like, did you hear? They asked, why do the Argentinians get here so early? They're like, because there's nothing better to do in this life other than to come and see play Argentina. Why aren't you more like that? Jumping and leaping. Why? Because Argentina's playing. Because the wife is playing. That passion. Jumping. If you don't jump, you're a fucking Englishman. That's what you gotta sing, the Argentines do. If you don't jump, you're a fucking Brazilian. If you don't jump, you're a fucking Mexican. If you don't jump, is whatever other things except for an Argentine. An Argentine jumps. That is the passion that none of you have before. Now you do. Because you've been absorbing it. Little by little, drinking it little by little from an Argentinian couple that is pure passion. Yahweh wants a woman that's pure passion. Because shit's about to hit the fan in this final. And what's it say? It says, and ye shall go forth, leaping as calves led out to pasture. And you will tread upon the wicked. Look at what passion you have to have. We're going to tread upon everyone. That's why I said, if you don't jump, you're an Englishman, tread upon him. If you don't jump, is a Mexican, tread upon him. What? Yes, you fucking son of a bitch, tread upon him. If you don't jump, you're Chilean, tread upon him. If you don't jump, you're Brazilian, tread upon him. If you don't jump, then you're a Frenchman, tread upon him. And then who's leaping? The Argentines, the purified silver, argentum. And ye shall go forth leaping as fatted calves led out to pasture. And ye shall tread upon the wicked as if they were dust under your feet. The day that I am preparing, saith Yahweh Sabaoth. Marvelous. He that understandeth this, understandeth this. Last song. Vamos Argentina. Let's go Argentina. Let's go Argentina. Let's go. We shall win. This riot rod does not stop and will not stop rooting for you.
Vamos, vamos Argentina, vamos, vamos a ganar, que esta barra quilombera no te deja de aguantar.
Amen. Hallelujah. That's a lot better than "We go to heaven with Christ." Remember that song? We're off to. Fuck that. Let's go Argentina, who's the wife. Tomorrow, Sunday, for us here at sunset, Hanukkah begins. But where the game begins, it starts precisely during the end of the game. When Argentina-France is playing and the sun sets, because they will see sun because they play at 7 a.m. California. You see the sun still in the game, but you'll see that the sun sets. When the sun sets, Hanukkah begins for them because they are ahead of us. What a chance, right? The feast of Hanukkah begins during the team game, the final encounter of the World Cup. I find it very meaningful. Wholeheartedly, I hope you understood today's message. Wholeheartedly, I hope you have understood what Yahweh looks for. Wholeheartedly, really, it's something that's already a part of you. It was a part of you. You didn't know. But Yahweh sent me to purify the argentum. That argentum that we all bear inside. That Argentina that we all bear inside. Next Shabbat, I shall explain Revelation 12 correctly. Without any further ado, we shall wrap up with a word of prayer. Beloved husband, Yahweh, we give you thanks because you have chosen us. And you have given us an identity. You have given us a passion. And you have prepared us for this game. We are waiting for you. We desire that you illuminate us with your Son of Righteousness, that we can go forth and leap upon everyone, and jump upon the wicked, and jump upon Babylon, and go forth to score, and be champions of the earth forever. We thank you, and we are ready to enter into the game in your precious name, the name of our husband, Yahweh, Yeshua, Alleluia. Semper Fi. May the Argentine bride be champion of the world and forever. Long live Argentina, damn it! Long live the children of Elohim. Yeshua, long live. Another applause.
Otro aplauso.
Yeshua reigns. Alleluia for every one of you. Argentum LVE lineage. If you have liked this subject, if you're listening to me, comment and write, I am an Argentine. As I taught you to say I am, now just add, aside from I am the Christ, I am an Argentine. Let's go Argentina, damn it. Let's go Argentina, damn it. Alleluia to every one of you.